Chapter 1380. Yes. The three-eyed golden lion nodded. That's why you came out. The three-eyed golden lion grunted again. She looked furious. Wang Feng shook his head and asked, "What about Di Tian and the rest? The forest is too big. They can't take care of the entire forest." "You're quite kind," Wang Feng said. He thought about the three soul beasts that were following the three-eyed golden lion. "I just don't want them to die because of me," the three-eyed golden lion said softly. "I'm an auspicious beast, but I brought misfortune to the forest. I'm not worthy of their protection." "You're quite self-aware." Wang Feng laughed. "Although I won't comment on whether you should come out or not. If you were caught by those evil soul masters and killed by the soldiers of the Human Alliance, even if the Great Star Doe Forest doesn't go to war with the Human Alliance, there won't be any possibility of cooperation. Your master must have told you that humans and soul beasts have to work together in the future, right? Think about it. If you come out like this, there will be conflict between humans and soul beasts. If the situation is worse, a war will break out between humans and soul beasts. Furthermore, your master isn't here." The three-eyed golden lion probably didn't think so much. She was stunned. Of course, she couldn't be blamed for this. Wang Feng wanted to remind her not to come out recklessly because of her kindness. Even if she wanted to come out, she should bring more soul beasts with her. She shouldn't be caught right away. After all, if Wang Feng had thought that she would be dead by now, she would have been gone. However, the three-eyed golden lion was silent for a long time before she said, "Then I'll leave the Great Star Doe Forest. Since I'm bringing misfortune to the forest, there shouldn't be any more danger if I leave. Even if they want to catch me, they won't do it here." "That's a good idea." Wang Feng clapped as he said, "Where do you want to go? So you won't be caught?" "That's enough. Since those evil soul masters have their eyes on you, it won't be easy to go anywhere. If you return to the Divine Mountain and don't come out, those evil soul masters won't be able to do anything. This is the best idea." The three-eyed golden lion lowered its head, then lifted its head and looked at Wang Feng. "Why are you looking at me?" Wang Feng waved his hand. "Impossible. No way. I want to go to human society," said the three-eyed golden lion. Wang Feng. "Good. Little girl, you don't play by the rules. To human society." Wang Feng thought about it. Needless to say, the Federation was indeed much safer than this place. However, the premise was that it had to be in the core area. Furthermore, he had to stay close to those supreme experts. "Why do you want to go to human society?" Wang Feng asked. "Because I want to understand humans." The three-eyed golden lion glanced at him and lowered its head. "I'm now in human form. Although I'm not recultivating, I want to understand other things about human society. Besides, no one knows that I've become a human, except for you." "If you put it that way, I think it's okay." Wang Feng nodded. It seemed that the three-eyed golden lion had great ambitions. This type of soul beast was born with high intelligence, possibly even higher than Qingyu. The only difference was that she was still too young. If she wanted to learn human knowledge, she might be able to use this knowledge to change the soul beast society from the inside. Didn't you say it was impossible?" The three-eyed golden lion asked softly. Wang Feng coughed twice. He thought that she wanted to stay by his side. Wang Feng found it troublesome, and he was about to go to the God Realm. Naturally, he couldn't bring her along. He didn't expect the three-eyed golden lion to have such great ambitions. Wang Feng had a whole new level of respect for her. "I've changed my mind. I can send you to human society." Wang Feng nodded. There was some encouragement in his eyes. A smile appeared on the three-eyed golden lion's face. It was like the warmth of the full moon, intoxicating. The next day, Wang Feng brought the three-eyed golden lion to Martial Spirit City. He handed the three-eyed golden lion over to Heavenly King Shi. Wang Feng originally wanted to hand the three-eyed golden lion over to Qingyu. After all, Qingyu is also a soul beast in human form. She was extremely intelligent and interested in human society. She also liked to research. This way, the two could share interests. They could also get along. However, Qingyu went to the other two political districts after the tournament. She wanted to explore more, so Wang Feng could only hand the three-eyed golden lion over to the Shidoa. At the same time, he explained the three-eyed golden lion's identity and what had happened in the great Stardew forest. Then he left. The three-eyed golden lion's identity was very special. When she left, she didn't bid farewell to the other soul beasts. She only said a few words to the three soul beasts protecting her. She didn't announce it to the world to prevent unnecessary misunderstandings. It's expected that evil soul masters would cause trouble at this time. However, I didn't expect them to secretly sow discord in the great Stardew forest. The Douluo looked at the girl beside Wang Feng. This child is best placed with us. Don't worry, we'll take good care of her. When humans and soul beasts work together in the future, we won't hide anything from her. We'll do our best to teach her. Wang Feng nodded slightly and looked at the three-eyed golden lion. Follow them. Although this place isn't as safe as the Divine Mountain, it's almost impossible for evil soul masters to touch you here. Furthermore, no one will know that you're in human society. After speaking, Wang Feng turned to leave. He was in a rush. Although this trip was quick, he still wasted a few days. Please wait. The three-eyed golden lion stopped Wang Feng. What else do you want? Wang Feng turned around. The three-eyed golden lion lowered her head and stammered. I heard that humans have names. I can't think of any. Wang Feng was enlightened. He thought for a moment. A name is just a symbol. It's not important. You're the emperor beast of the great Stardew forest. Your bloodline originates from the ancient Swanee. Let's call you Emperor Swanee. The three-eyed golden lion was speechless. Senior, your name is too eye-catching. The Douluo frowned. She's a girl. Emperor doesn't suit her. Furthermore, it's fine as a code name. However, you don't even have a surname. It's better to use a more ordinary one. That way, you won't be discovered. The Douluo looked at the sky and casually said, It's the autumn harvest today. Let's call her Wang Xiao. It's just as simple as your surname, Xiao. Wang Feng looked at the Douluo in astonishment. Wang Feng was familiar with the name Wang Xiao. In his previous life, Wang Feng had never watched the second series of Douluo. However, he still knew the names of these famous people. He already knew the three-eyed golden lion's name in the original novel. However, the difference between the current world and the original novel was too great. There was no way to retract the timeline. Wang Feng thought that there was no need to use the same name. He didn't expect, what do you think? Wang Feng respected the three-eyed golden lion's opinion. The three-eyed golden lion thought for a long time. I'll be called Emperor Swanee. Wang Feng smiled when he heard this. The Douluo's eyes flashed with astonishment. In a chapter. Chapter 1381. The silver dragon looked at the misty forest in front of her with a solemn expression. Her frown did not ease for a long time. It was a very strange soul beast forest. The sky was covered with strange black clouds. Looking from afar, it looked like a huge black curtain shrouding everything. Just looking at it gave people a kind of dark pressure. At the same time, the forest was shrouded in a thin layer of fog. Occasionally, a few huge and ferocious shadows would flash past. This is the evil demon forest? The dark demonic energy is so dense. It's locked in the entire forest. No wonder the soul demon ran here. The silver dragon hesitated. She had followed the soul demon all the way here. She had a rough idea that the soul demon was deliberately luring her away from the great Stardew forest. But at the same time, she wanted to see where the soul demon had escaped to. She hoped to find the soul demon's base. Not to mention killing them all. If she could make these soul demons suffer before leaving the Douluo world, the world would be better. The black fog shrouding this place blocks spiritual power. Even my spiritual power can't penetrate it. The dark demonic energy is too dense. There may not be any soul beasts left. The silver dragon sighed softly in her heart. This forest was very big. It was also very far from the great Stardew forest. She knew part of human history. She knew that this forest originally belonged to another continent. But to the dragon god, it was all the same. The dark demonic energy is a great tonic for some soul beasts that are inclined towards the dark element. They have no resistance at all. The silver dragon knew that even if this forest was not dangerous to her, it would be difficult for her to do anything. But the dark demonic energy was the special energy of the dark demon realm. It was not something that soul beasts could casually absorb and cultivate. The silver dragon felt a little troubled when she thought that the soul beasts in such a big forest had all turned into dark demonic beasts. She was not affected by the dark demonic energy. Even if she could not sense the situation in this forest, it was not difficult for her to enter. She felt a little helpless when she thought about the countless evil soul beasts attacking her and how she would inevitably have to kill them. No, I have to deal with them as soon as possible. A silver light flashed in the silver dragon's eyes. The reason she had followed them here was to get rid of these soul demons. Now that she had found their base, she could not just give up. Then she wouldn't be able to go to the God realm with peace of mind. Although this place had been taken care of, it did not mean that all the soul demons had been taken care of. At the very least, it had greatly relieved the soul beasts. Otherwise, with the rate at which soul demons were being born in this world, the silver dragon suspected that not long after he went to the God realm, there wouldn't be many soul beasts left before humans and soul beasts joined forces. At the thought of this, the silver dragon growled. His body suddenly changed. In an instant, she disappeared from the cliff. She turned into a silver light and flew into the sky. At the same time, a loud dragon roar reverberated through the clouds. A dazzling silver dragon that was thousands of meters tall appeared in the sky, blotting out the sun and covering the sky. Her body seemed to cover the black fog above the forest. Even from tens of kilometers away, one could still see that huge body. It was extremely shocking. This was her true body. She had recovered from her injuries. Although her strength had not reached its peak state, it was not too far off. Every one of her dragon scales seemed to contain infinite energy. They surged and surged, stirring up the wind and clouds, causing the world to be in an uproar. A dragon's roar made the earth tremble and the mountains and rivers tremble. If Wang Feng was here, he would know that the silver dragon's true strength was far stronger than during the summit tournament. Even if she wanted to destroy the martial spirit city, it would be a piece of cake. Obviously, the silver dragon did not want to enter the evil demon forest. She planned to give a super strong blow directly. She could not sense any real soul beasts in this forest. From the density of the dark demon chi, no soul beast could be unharmed. The silver dragon estimated that there were at least a dozen soul demons inside. There might be one or two soul demons that surpassed the limit of this world. If she went directly into the forest, it would be equivalent to entering their territory. Those soul demons might have all kinds of abilities from the dark demon realm. She would suffer a great loss. Therefore, she simply revealed the silver dragon's true body and attacked the entire forest. She did not want to give the soul demons any chance. She might not be able to kill them all, but she could at least severely injure them. The idea was very simple, but it was very effective. The soul demons inside probably did not expect the silver dragon to do this. The evil demon forest was a very special place. Similar to the Martial Spirit Federation, this place was more dangerous than the Great Stardow Forest. Therefore, the Sun Moon Empire sent 5 legions to be stationed dozens of miles away from this forest. They did not even dare to be stationed at the edge of the forest. Although the Sun Moon Empire, which revered soul tools, was not as strong as the Federation, that was only in terms of the strength of their soul masters. In terms of the use of soul tools, they were far superior to the Federation. In particular, the explosion of the energy tide had a great impact on the use of soul tools in the Sun Moon Empire. Regardless of whether it was for civilian or military use, soul tools had been developed to a very high level. After all, the energy tide of the Stardow Sacred Mountain did not only affect life. It also affected everything in this world. For example, vegetation, minerals, air, and so on. The Sun Moon Empire's continent was rich in ores. After the energy tide, most of the ores had mutated and affected many aspects of soul tools. This was because soul tools were made from many special and rare minerals. Just as the silver dragon was about to make a move, she didn't expect such a huge change to occur. The 5 legions of the Sun-Moon Empire that were stationed several dozen kilometers away from the evil demon forest were horrified. How terrifying was the true form of the silver dragon? Just that pressure alone was enough to make people feel extremely shocked and terrified, even from tens of miles away. However, due to their misunderstanding of the silver dragon, the 5 great armies could only sense boundless danger from the silver dragon. Almost as soon as the silver dragon revealed its true form, the commanders of the Sun-Moon Empire's 5 legions gave the order to activate their soul cannons and attack. At the same time, he ordered the army to retreat tens of kilometers. Evidently, the Sun-Moon Empire's legions didn't know about the silver dragon's origins. Even within the Federation, no one knew about the silver dragon's origins, let alone the Sun-Moon Empire. The Sun-Moon Empire wasn't the martial soul federation. In the Sun-Moon Empire, there was no such thing as a soul charmer. They wouldn't show any mercy to soul beasts. Furthermore, the silver dragon that was circling above the evil demon forest was more like a powerful and ancient soul beast that had been born in this forest. The legions that were guarding this place had no choice but to attack this danger. Furthermore, the evil demon forest was very strange. This forest would affect the use of soul tools. Many powerful soul tools, such as high-grade stationary soul cannon shells, would lose their effectiveness inside and wouldn't pose a threat. Therefore, they couldn't attack this forest with their firepower and could only guard it from the outside. If a powerful evil soul beast came out from inside, they could destroy it. Naturally, the silver dragon was more like a terrifying evil soul beast to them now that it had revealed its true form. They had to kill it as soon as possible. Chapter 1382. As a soul cannon. It was the strongest known soul cannon among the many military soul tools of the Sun-Moon Empire. The strength of these soul cannons wasn't named according to their normal ranks. This was because these soul cannons were beyond the normal ranks. According to the illustrious Virtue Hall, the most advanced soul tool research department in the Sun-Moon Empire, it was estimated to be more powerful than a Class 9 stationary soul cannon. Its destructive power, lethality, and area of effect were the best known. The illustrious Virtue Hall once said that without the energy tide, it would take at least a few hundred years, or even 1,000 years, before the Empire could develop such a soul cannon. The reason was because they didn't have enough materials. Furthermore, as the most authoritative department in soul tool research, the illustrious Virtue Hall even gave an exaggerated conclusion. They only needed 6 cannonballs to destroy the Empire's largest city, Radiant City, with its strongest defenses. It will be destroyed. Therefore, only 5 of these cannonballs had been produced. Every one of them was under the control of the Legion. The more powerful a weapon was, the harder it was to control, and the more dangerous it was. If they weren't careful, they would be the ones to be destroyed. These 5 soul cannons were the 5 Legion's key weapons to defend the evil demon forest. They were also a form of deterrence. They hadn't fired a single one until now because they were afraid that such a soul cannon wouldn't be effective against the evil demon forest. Wouldn't that be troublesome? They could only be used as a deterrent. Once an unimaginably strong evil soul beast or soul demon appeared, they would be used immediately. But now, the silver dragon didn't expect the human army stationed here to be so strong, because to the current her, it was no longer something that a human could do to hurt her. Therefore, the silver dragon didn't pay much attention to the soul demon, even though it had chased them all the way here and sensed the human army nearby. This was similar to the federal army in the Great Stardow Forest. They only wanted to prevent powerful evil soul beasts from entering human society. It was very normal. To deal with this forest, the silver dragon naturally had to unleash its strongest attack. Golden halos shone from her body. She spread her wings towards the sky, and the halos flickered. The black fog dissipated as she roared. The berserk elements followed the silver dragon's wings and shook the entire evil demon forest. In the next moment, the silver dragon opened its mouth slightly, as if the attack had been prepared. Several shadows flickered from her body, and a colorless and transparent ball of light gushed out from her mouth, as if it had gathered a terrifying power. Go! Silver light erupted from the silver dragon's mouth, and its body glowed with a silvery light. The five-colored ball of light in its mouth turned into an aurora and fell from the sky like a slanted beam of light above the evil demon forest below. This was the highly compressed elemental power. It could detonate all the elements in this world, causing a violent and terrifying explosion. It could annihilate everything, including light, darkness, and even space. The power within the silver dragon's body was no longer as simple as soul power. Now that she had recovered from her injuries, she possessed true divine power. The words destroying heaven and earth were not an adjective, but a reality. However, the silver dragon did not expect this. Just as she was about to unleash this attack, from 5 different directions, a terrifying energy beam blasted directly toward her. The silver dragon sensed it immediately. She was shocked and furious, because the power contained in this energy beam had already reached the critical point of this world. To be precise, it might have already exceeded it. Such a terrifying attack was very frightening. But who was it? It was not until she saw the ant-like humans in the distance that the silver dragon roughly thought of something. Her body was too large, and the attack she had just unleashed had consumed a lot of her divine power. These 5 beams of light blasted her body almost immediately. Almost at the same time, they and the silver ball of light landed in the evil demon forest and exploded at the same time. In an instant, the boundless light covered everything. The terrifying blast of air blasted in all directions, destroying everything. The impact of the 2 explosions, even in just a few dozen seconds, had already spread the range of the explosion to the position of the 5 major armies. Even though they had already ordered a retreat of dozens of miles, they were still thrown off their feet by the impact of this explosion. But at this time, more than a dozen reddish-black lights lit up in the evil demon forest, especially in the core area. The silver dragon's attack was not to be underestimated. These soul demons were immediately destroyed. Even their souls were directly destroyed. Only a few reddish-black figures were left. Dark Demon Chief. She fell into a trap. These reddish-black figures did not look so real in the boundless light of the explosion, but a faint layer of light enveloped them, barely resisting the explosion. One of the figures was panting heavily, as if he was suffering as he spoke. It's really strange. This world's level of civilization is not high, and the level of power is very low. How can there be such a powerful existence? It's really incredible. The higher-ups sent us to destroy this world. It was supposed to be a smooth journey, but why did we encounter such a troublesome intelligent life? Even upper-rank soul demons can't do this in this world if they suppress their strength. The soul demon, who was called the Dark Demon Chief, was much taller than the others. He glanced at the evil demon forest. In any case, this is our base camp where we have lived for so many years. The dark demon energy has accumulated to a critical point. Under normal circumstances, we should be able to crush this world safely. I didn't expect that more than half of it would be destroyed so easily. This forest is quite magical. I originally planned to study it thoroughly before going out, in order to avoid those humans outside causing trouble. Mo Yuan, you did a good job this time. Although this forest is destroyed, those humans outside have lost any deterrence. As he spoke, he looked at the silver dragon in the sky, which was bombarded by 5 beams of light. His tone was somewhat surprised. Look, this world actually has such a level of attack. It's really amazing. If I had taken 5 attacks in a row, I would have been seriously injured if I was not careful. These humans should be proud to be able to threaten a war demon. Dark Demon Chief, you flatter me. The devil's soul called Mo Yuan revealed a somewhat sinister smile. I heard some news in that forest. I roughly know the origin of this silver life form. She is not a life form of this world, but a life form of the god realm. She is a descendant of the dragon god. However, many of our memories have been sealed. You can enter your core and scan it. Perhaps you will know her origin. Then it's no wonder. The Dark Demon Chief looked at the silver dragon in the distance, who was bombarded continuously. This level of attack only caused some minor injuries to her. Her strength has already surpassed that of an upper-rank soul demon. Borrowing her hand to get rid of those human weapons, it's time for me to make a move. After saying that, from his back, he pulled out a spine from his back. This spine was like a bone sword, covered with sharp and pitch-black thorns and grooves. Since she is a life of the divine realm, it's not like we haven't killed her before. The dark demon let out a long sigh, seemingly a little excited. The god-slaying spine, if it were those powerful gods, they would definitely not be able to kill her. However, she had just used such a powerful move and was also injured. My god-slaying spine should be able to play a certain role. No matter how bad it is, it can make her fall from the sky. After saying that, he suddenly threw this straight spine toward the silver dragon in the sky. Chapter 1383. The reddish-black spine tore through the clouds like a rainbow. Under the gaze of several soul demons, the light beams from the 5 human weapons bombarded the silver dragon's huge body. In an instant, a loud dragon roar shook the clouds. It was an angry roar because it had suffered great damage. Even the 5 shots from the Sun Moon Empire's stationary soul cannons did not make the silver dragon roar so angrily. The reddish-black light seemed to devour everything, and a bloody wound appeared on the right side of the silver dragon's abdomen. Dragon scales that were several meters long fell from the silver dragon's body. Her body was also seriously injured because of this attack. Of course, it was not fatal. The silver dragon that even the godly king could not kill easily. It was even more impossible to kill a war demon from the dark demon realm. They just took advantage of this opportunity to seriously injure her so that she would not attack them again. The huge silver shadow in the sky was on the verge of collapse, and its body was shrinking slightly. It's a pity that this monster is too strong. If it were those lesser gods, the power of the god-slaying spine would be enough to kill them. The dark demon chief looked at the silver dragon falling in the distance and sighed. This is the latest model of our dark demon realm's research, the god-slaying number 1. It is specially designed to target the gods of the godly realm. It uses the demon's body as the furnace and dark blood as the nourishment to forge a god-slaying spine. Let's go. We can't stay here for long. Let's find the other dark demon chiefs and find out which one of them is. Then we can slowly destroy this world. Dark demon chief Black Peak. She has been seriously injured. If we can kill such a strong life form, we might have a chance to level up when we see which one of them later. This is a great opportunity. One of the soul demons immediately suggested. Oh, the dark demon chief, called Black Peak, glanced at him, shook his head, and asked, "When did you join the demonic emperor army?" 100 years ago. 100 years ago, you were still a small soldier in the demonic emperor army, sent to participate in this lowest level mission. Black-Edged Dark Devil let out a long sigh. The demonic emperor army started this plan not only to destroy these weak worlds, but also to clean up the parasites within the demonic emperor army. Otherwise, soul demons like you, who are at the bottom of the imperial demon army, have no room for improvement, have low awareness, and don't study the knowledge of other worlds seriously, are completely useless. His words clearly hurt the soul demon's heart. Although the expressions of the other soul demons did not change, they did not feel good when they heard that. However, they were already used to it. After all, they were nothing more than cannon fodder in the internal department. I'll tell you. Blacktip pointed at the spot where the silver dragon had fallen. This is a powerful life form that's stronger than a high-rank soul demon. Even in our dark demon realm, it's a first-rate powerhouse. Due to the rules of this world, the range of her attack just now was limited to this forest. Furthermore, she was injured. In addition, she was hit by the weapons of the humans after she cast it, which created an opportunity for my deicide ridge. That's why we have a chance to hit her. But that's just to create an opportunity for us to leave. But it's impossible to kill her without a high-rank soul demon. Do you believe that if we chase after her now, the only possibility is that we'll be killed by her? You soul demons who don't even qualify as high-rank soul demons can't even withstand one breath from her. Is it because after coming to this world, The weakness of this world has given you the illusion that you are very powerful, that your brain can't think properly anymore. You still want to finish her off? Blacktip glanced at them with undisguised contempt in his eyes. The commander of our Imperial Demon Army once said that the most powerful soul demon is not the top-grade dark demon body, nor is it the enormous dark demon power comparable to the dead demon sea, nor is it the brain with super wisdom comparable to the stars. It's the ability to maintain a clear self-awareness at all times and not be confused by the rules of any world. Let's go. As long as we can find that person, we'll have a chance to kill this great life form. Besides, if we can find him, we'll have done a great service. As he spoke, Black Peak glanced at the soul demons in a dignified manner. The soul demons lowered their heads in shame. In fact, it was similar to what Blacktip had said. The weakness of this world had given him the illusion that they, the cannon fodder of the Imperial Demon Army, were so powerful. The Black Peak Dark Demon led the few remaining soul demons and disappeared in another direction. The Silver Dragon knew at the first moment she was hit that the attack covered a wide area, and there would be a few soul demons who escaped. But she didn't expect them to be so cunning. The god-slaying spine pierced in her body, causing considerable damage. But it wasn't fatal to her. It was like being shot by a gun. She only felt some pain and fatigue, but she was still far from death. Compared to the injury caused by the godly king, it was far worse. She fell from the sky, but she just wanted to take the opportunity to lure the few fish that escaped the net closer so that she could kill them in one move. She also wanted to recover and rest. After all, the attack just now was a little strenuous, especially with the human's weapon. To her, even if it was scraping, it would still hurt. She fell into the evil demon forest, which had been razed to the ground. Her huge body was lying on the ground, shrinking a lot. She was only a few hundred meters long. After all, her true form consumed a lot of divine power. And the most troublesome thing was that there was no divine power to replenish in this world. She didn't know how long it would take to replenish her divine power. She had no choice. The energy in this world was too weak. Otherwise, she wouldn't have cultivated for so many years. Without the energy tide of the divine mountain, it would probably take another 10,000 years. So the Silver Dragon had to use her divine power carefully. That attack just now was quite extravagant. But the Silver Dragon didn't expect that those soul demons who escaped didn't have the habit of attacking her. They didn't come to her at all. They just slipped away. Sigh. These creatures of the dark demon realm are so cunning. The Silver Dragon crawled in the ruins, lying on the ground and looking at the sky. She found that the injury on her abdomen was getting worse. What troubled her was that the red-black special weapon seemed to be very special. Not only could it harm her body, but it couldn't be removed in a short period of time. It was like a needle that had been inserted in her body and couldn't be removed. It was very uncomfortable. Furthermore, it was continuously devouring the divine power in her body. As time passed, it would be more troublesome. I'll rest for a while. I'll go back to the Great Stardow Forest and find a way to remove this weapon. I wonder if he's gone. The Silver Dragon panted slightly. She looked at the sky and didn't speak for a long time. Wang Feng headed west after leaving Martial Soul City. He was heading towards the Sun-Moon Empire. Because he had a detailed map, Wang Feng flew in a straight line towards the evil demon forest. But according to his normal speed, he would still need 3 to 4 days. Along the way, Wang Feng's soul power had reached rank 50. He could absorb the second soul ring that Qilin Lord Icy Empress had given him. He would break through and reach rank 60. At the same time, the little Kuan shark's cultivation was also increasing rapidly. Long Xie and Qilin Lord Icy Empress's cultivations were also increasing rapidly. The little Kuan shark was improving the fastest. Along the way, they passed by several cities in the Sun-Moon Empire. However, Wang Feng didn't want to stop. He didn't want to waste time either. He just flew past them. He didn't intend to enter the cities. However, he could see the cities in the Sun-Moon Empire from above. In terms of development, they were much better than the cities in the Federation. The main reason was that the development of soul tool technology was different. The cities in the Sun-Moon Empire had many large-scale soul tools. If the soul tool technology in the Federation was mostly used by soul masters for military purposes. However, the soul tool research in the Sun Moon Empire was already at the civilian level. It was important to note that the technology in Hui Yuhao's previous life was far inferior to that of the military and the most advanced technology. It was the same principle for soul tools. For example, the Federation's research and development of soul tools were initially only used in battles between soul masters. They didn't have much energy to develop soul tool technology for civilian use. This allowed Wang Feng to see the cities in the Sun Moon Empire from above. It gave him a modern feel. Of course, the large-scale soul tools were only a small part of it. There weren't any soul cars or soul airplanes that Wang Feng had imagined. After a quick glance, Wang Feng continued to advance toward the evil demon forest. He suddenly stopped when he was a few hundred kilometers away from the evil demon forest. What powerful energy undulations! Wang Feng sat on Long Xie's back and looked into the distance. This place is still very far away from the evil demon forest. The energy undulations can be transmitted so far away. This level of attack must be at the level of 1,000-ton hydrogen bomb, right? In Wang Feng's memories from his previous life, hydrogen bombs were considered the most powerful nuclear weapons. Even the exceptional Douluo from 10,000 years ago couldn't unleash an attack of this level. However, Douluo's abilities had increased. They could unleash such attacks, but it was extremely difficult. According to the Sun Moon Empire's strongest stationary soul cannon shells, there weren't any soul tools comparable to hydrogen bombs. Did the Silver Dragon attack? Wang Feng looked into the distance. Other than the Silver Dragon, Wang Feng couldn't think of anyone else who could unleash such a powerful attack. In Wang Feng's opinion, it was normal for a god to unleash a nuclear attack. If they didn't even have a nuclear attack, then the gods in the god realm were too weak. The Silver Dragon's abilities weren't something that ordinary gods could compare to. Even though she was still injured, she could still unleash an attack of this level. Chapter 1384. Did she cast it on the evil demon forest? Wang Feng continued to fly forward, but he had already thought of this possibility. So ruthless, Wang Fengxin said. He could not tell that the Silver Dragon was an extremely ruthless person. Well, that was true. She wasn't a little cutie like the three-eyed golden lion who would talk about kindness. She was the master of soul beasts, the original descendant of the dragon god, and had participated in the War of the Gods. She didn't view life as ants, but she didn't feel the slightest bit of pity for these soul demons and evil soul beasts. Even if they were humans, she would not show any mercy. She would attack when she should. Decisive. Wang Feng was afraid that the Silver Dragon would cause trouble in the human world because of this. He had never underestimated her strength. However, the closer he got to the evil demon forest, the more Wang Feng felt that he had underestimated the Silver Dragon's strength. The aura of a soul demon. The closer he got, the more he could feel the residual elemental fluctuations in the air. Wang Feng did not know what kind of attack the Silver Dragon used to create such a range and power comparable to a hydrogen bomb explosion. However, the elemental fluctuations in the air were extremely chaotic. Such elemental chaos would make it difficult for soul masters to survive, and ordinary people would directly explode and die from the impact. He could already feel it before he was really close to the evil demon forest. Just in case, Wang Feng directly revealed his martial soul and let the evil Dragon King enter the soul domain to hide. Under the angel of light and dark, Wang Feng's body suddenly changed. Long ago, Wang Feng had used this method to deceive a dark demon elder in the extreme north to give up his soul and obtain a lot of knowledge. The light and dark martial soul originally came from the traitor dark angel of the god realm. After he fell into the dark demon realm, he became one of the demon gods. Although it had been a long time, this demon god should be very majestic in the dark demon realm and should have established a great reputation. He was respected as the demon god. Wang Feng used the angel of light and dark to successfully deceive the dark demon elder. After he took his soul, he learned about the internal communication between soul demons. At the same time, he also learned about the other dark demon elders who had descended into the Douluo world through the eggs of evil soul beasts. Wang Feng remembered that 2 of them were from the Sun Moon Empire's generation. Moreover, it was very likely to be in the evil demon forest. Under the possession of the angel of light and dark martial soul, Wang Feng's body size changed again. He was now almost 3 meters tall. There were 14 shadows of light and darkness on his back. His body was as tall as a mountain, and his angular face was like an ancient sculpture. Wang Feng flew leisurely in the air. He seemed to be waiting for something. After a short while, several streaks of crimson and black light rushed over from a distance. With the silver dragon's strength, even a 10-ringed god-level war demon would not be difficult for her to kill. Wang Feng must have guessed that the silver dragonate cities was deliberately tailing the soul demon. They wanted to find these deity-rank war demons and eliminate them directly. It could also be considered as relieving the pressure on this world before leaving the god realm. In that case, most of the soul demons in Evil Demon Forest would die. However, there would always be a few fish that slipped through the net. After all, they came from the dark demon realm. Wang Feng did not believe that they did not have some means to protect themselves. The silver dragon's large-scale attack was very domineering, but there must have been an accident. Wang Feng figured out the cause and effect almost instantly, as well as the general situation in Evil Demon Forest. At this moment, Wang Feng suddenly stopped in midair and did not say a word. He just stared coldly in front of him. That dark demon Elder Black-ing must have used some special means to spread the news of him when he first saw him. Unfortunately, his soul was directly extinguished by him. He probably did not know why even when he died. Therefore, Wang Feng's identity would not be exposed. However, in an instant, the several streaks of crimson and black light stopped not far from Wang Feng. The dark demon chief, who was the leader, immediately became excited when he saw Wang Feng's appearance. You are the supreme Daesmo? He opened his mouth and spoke in the ancient demon language. The dark demon language was very special. It was a language and sound that only the body of a soul demon could produce. It was more like a way of life encryption. Just from the language alone, it was already very powerful. It was useless to just learn it. Without that kind of body structure, it was impossible to speak. Of course, in the dark demon realm, high-ranking soul demons could only communicate with their minds or use their minds to transmit orders. They could no longer use any voice to communicate. After Wang Feng killed the dark demon chief, he was already familiar with this language. Since you know it's the supreme Daesmo, why don't you bow? Wang Feng used the tremor of the chaotic 8 notes, mixed with the mind, to give a shocking answer. Wang Feng felt that the chaotic 8 notes was really useful, especially for these high-level life forms of the dark demon realm. It was a great deterrent. Sure enough, after hearing this, several soul demons, led by the dark demon chief, immediately knelt down in ecstasy. I, Black Edge, belong to the 38,675 Division of the Imperial Demon Army. I pay my respects to the Supreme Daesmo. Black Edge's 5 limbs prostrated, as if he already knew that Daesmo had appeared in this world. Compared to Black-ing, he was more respectful. He did not even have the slightest suspicion. Wang Feng knew the reason. It was very simple. These soul demons had a special way of communicating. Even if they were far away, they could still communicate. Probably, Black-ing had already spread the news of him, Daesmo, long ago. However, Wang Feng felt that this Hei Feng should know more than Hei-ing. Maybe his status was higher. Even in the Dark Demon Chief's range, there were differences in height. Supreme Daesmo, I have important news to report. Black Peak said excitedly while carefully sizing up this devil god. A bunch of trash. Wang Feng swept his eyes and said coldly, Do you think that the things in this world can be hidden from me, Daesmo? Do I need a dark demon chief like you to report? According to the character of Daesmo, he must be extremely arrogant, disregarding everything, powerful and mysterious. Especially when these soul demons were still like ants in the dark demon realm. The more Wang Feng acted like this, the less they would doubt him. At the same time, he could make these soul demons willingly and even beg to offer their souls. Sure enough, upon hearing this, these soul demons trembled violently all over. Black Edge was even more stunned. He obviously did not expect this. Come with me. I'll deal with her myself. Wang Feng seemed to know everything. He ignored them and continued to walk forward. Black Edge trembled all over. His heart was filled with fear and dread. With just one sentence, Black Edge knew that this Diezmo was unfathomable. He was far from an existence he could fathom. Chapter 1385. Relying on his analysis and his perception of the specific situation. Wang Feng easily guessed what this dark demon chief wanted to tell him. The silver dragon's powerful attack must have intimidated these soul demons. They were lucky enough to escape, but there was probably some fear in their hearts. They must know that with their strength, it was impossible for them to kill the silver dragon. They could only rely on him, the Dai demon god. Only then would it be possible. Wang Feng analyzed everything and naturally would not let them go. However, Wang Feng was different from the silver dragon. The silver dragon could attack these soul demons unscrupulously, but Wang Feng could not do so directly. Firstly, it was because his strength did not allow it, unless he used the strength of his main body, but that method was not stable. Once he used it, even if he could kill these soul demons, he would be injured, because this body still could not withstand the strength of his main body. Secondly, it would expose his identity, which would not be worth a loss. The dark demon realm was very important. Wang Feng estimated that the identity of the Dai demon god would save him a lot of unnecessary trouble in the future. Wang Feng had to make them obediently hand over their souls, instead of doing it himself. That way, there would not be any negligence. He moved forward without saying a word. Many soul demons were like eunuchs accompanying the emperor, trembling with fear. When he approached the evil demon forest, Wang Feng finally saw a barren land. It was like a giant plowed through the sky with a hoe. Wang Feng did not see a single corpse. It was a little scary. Moreover, the elements were extremely chaotic and the energy was particularly violent. This situation would not disappear in a short time. Countless evil soul beasts and soul demons died. However, this forest was not called the evil demon forest for no reason. There were countless powerful evil soul beasts, evil soul masters, and even soul demons squeezed and settled inside. The silver dragon killed them all in one go. It was really simple and crude, but it was very effective. By the way, this place is already like this. Is there still dragon god's true blood? Wang Feng glanced and muttered in his heart. At the end of his line of sight, he saw the silver dragon's body. But other than that, there was nothing else. Even the ground was sunken, standing in place. Wang Feng began to look at the silver dragon in the distance. Her body was only 100 meters tall, and she hadn't turned into a human yet. It was likely that turning into a human would be a burden to her. Even from such a distance, Wang Feng could sense that the silver dragon was indeed injured. With your strength, do you think you could hurt her? Wang Feng looked at the soul demons. This surprised Wang Feng. Under the attack of the silver dragon, being able to escape was already good enough, but he actually managed to injure the silver dragon. This was very impressive. How could such a dark demon chief possibly hurt the silver dragon? Your Honor, there's something you don't know. A soul demon immediately jumped out and answered, in the years that you disappeared, the dark demon realm developed vigorously. It entered many planes of existence, absorbed a lot of knowledge, and created all kinds of advanced weapons. The soul demon proudly introduced to Wang Feng what kind of weapon they had used to achieve this feat. Wang Feng listened seriously. The Godslayer Ridge was a powerful weapon developed by the Dark Demon Realm specifically to deal with the powerhouses of the God Realm. With this weapon, even a weak existence like the Dark Demon Chief could cause a certain amount of damage to the gods of the God Realm. Wang Fengxin wasn't surprised. Last time at He Ying's place, he saw that the memory demon core he used was very special. It contained extremely exquisite and complex components and structures. Compared to the Sun Moon Empire soul technology, the difference was like a toy car compared to an aircraft carrier. It was no longer a difference of one dimension. This meant that the Dark Demon Realm also had a very advanced civilization. Moreover, the worlds and planes they designed should be more advanced than the God Realm. No wonder they attacked the God Realm. However, after the Soul Demon finished speaking, Wang Feng was extremely calm. Your era has been long gone, the Soul Demon said excitedly. Our Dark Demon Realm is no longer the same as before. The Godslayer Ridge of the Black Peak Dark Demon Chief is still in the body of that dragon. Later, your honor only needs to, at this point. Suddenly, he felt that something was wrong. His companions around him, including the Black Peak Dark Demon Chief, were looking at him strangely. He looked at the Die Demon God and only heard a cold voice. Are you teaching me how to do things? His heart suddenly turned cold. Die. In an instant, there was a demonic voice, and thunder roared in the sky. The Soul Demon instantly disappeared and turned into endless clouds in this voice. For a moment, the rest of the Soul Demons were scared witless. Only the Black Peak Dark Demon Chief smiled coldly in his heart. It seemed that these Soul Demons were sent to participate in these missions in order to control the number of soldiers in the Demon Emperor army. On one hand, they could destroy other worlds, and on the other hand, they could reduce the number of soldiers who had no potential in the Demon Emperor army. What a perfect plan! As expected of the Demon Emperor army, the cruelest army in the Dark Demon Realm. In this world, trash was worthless. These Soul Demons were so stupid that they dared to mention this in front of the Die Demon God. Even the Demon God of the previous era was not something trash like them could understand. By saying this, were they trying to tell the Die Demon God that the era of the Dark Demon Realm had changed? How laughably ignorant. For a demon god, no matter how the era changed, a demon god was still a demon god. He was one of the most powerful fighting forces in the Dark Demon Realm. Especially this Die Demon God. Black Peak Dark Demon Chief vaguely heard some rumors about this Die Demon God, but he did not know if it was true or not. Wait for me here, Wang Feng said indifferently. If you're not afraid of death, you can follow me. The rest of the Soul Demons naturally did not dare to follow. If a fight broke out later, they felt that the aftershock could kill them. My lord, wait. Black Peak Dark Demon Chief hesitated. Wang Feng's eyes fell on him like a cold blade. He seemed to be telling him that if he dared to stop him without a suitable reason, he would end up like the Soul Demon just now. Although it was impossible to use the die sound to kill this Dark Demon Chief, like how he killed the Soul Demon just now, he had to do it. But he must have such an imposing manner. That Black Peak Dark Demon Chief hurriedly said, that dragon has my God-slaying ridge, which is very powerful. Of course, to you, it is just an insignificant little toy. But I want to offer this little toy to you. It is a token of my sincerity. This B** knows how to talk. Wang Fengxin said, as expected of the Dark Demon Chief. End of chapter. Chapter 1386. Continue. Wang Feng said indifferently. Hearing this, Black Peak Dark Fiend was overjoyed. It seemed that the Soul Demon's words had made this Die Demon God somewhat interested and wary of the current Dark Fiend world. After all, the era was changing. How could he understand the current era of the Dark Fiend world? However, that Soul Demon was too stupid. He didn't even know how to speak. This item is bound to my soul, Black Peak Dark Fiend said slowly. I only need to offer my soul to your holiness. Then this item will naturally belong to your holiness. Wang Fengxin was surprised. This dog was very smart. Wang Feng knew that he actually wanted to climb up to him, just like Heiying. But obviously, he felt that he was not qualified. He was even smarter than Heiying. One must know that in the Dark Fiend world, if a Dark Fiend Lord wanted to climb up to a demon god, it was equivalent to the village chief of a small country wanting to climb up to the overlord of the Milky Way galaxy. The difference between them was so great that it was terrifying. Therefore, he pretended to offer this item to Wang Feng. In fact, he wanted to offer his soul and become Wang Feng's servant. Of course, Wang Feng couldn't wait for him to do so. However, he still couldn't agree directly. Your soul. Wang Feng smiled faintly, as if he had seen through everything. Just a little toy. You want me to accept your soul? Previously, there was someone called Heiying. He also wanted to use a smart method to become my servant. I killed him. Black Peak. He sweated profusely. F***CK. No wonder he lost the signal from Heiying. When he saw the silver dragon, he thought it was the silver dragon who did it. He didn't expect it to be Dai Demon God. However, this also meant that this method was not desirable. These little tricks were meaningless to a demon god. If you want to become a demon god's servant without anything valuable to me, then you will only die. Then, only death awaits you. Wang Feng said indifferently. He wanted to squeeze out more valuable things out of it. In my memory core, there is some top-secret information about this mission. It has something to do with this world. Black Peak Dark Fiend Lord hesitated and said, Your Holiness, this is the most valuable thing I can take out. Tell me about it. Wang Feng said calmly. Black Edge Dark Devil leader looked around and said in a low voice, Around this generation, there should be a transcendent life form's true blood left in this place. That transcendent being was related to the divine realm, and it was rather ancient. The exact location is in my memory core. Wang Fengxin's heart moved. Could it be that he was referring to the true blood of the dragon god? Transcendent life form? Wang Feng's expression remained unchanged, as if he still knew everything. Dragon god from a celestial world, right? That old thing was a being from the Douluo divine realm. After that, he fell. How did a mere dark demon chief like you find out about this? Wang Feng looked at Black Peak coldly, with suspicion. I won't lie to you. Black Edge explained. Although I'm only a dark demon chief, I'm also a warrior of the Imperial Demon Army. The Imperial Demon Emperor Army has been fighting in many planes over the years, and some of them are closely related to the planes and continents under the Divine Realm. So, I got it from conversation with a superior soul demon. This world is a little special. It contains the rules of the Divine Realm. Soul demons above the lower rank are not allowed to enter, so we can only come here. That superior soul demon is related to another descendant of the Dragon Clan in the Divine Realm. I guess the news about the true blood of the Dragon God came from there. This superior soul demon is a senior member of the Imperial Demon Emperor Army, and he has a distant relationship with me. Make it clear. Wang Feng listened calmly. My elder sister is one of the attendants of this superior soul demon. Oh, how can that be considered a distant relationship? Wang Feng asked coldly. I have more than 100 elder sisters, and I don't know most of them. I only have a distant relationship with them. Wang Fengxin cursed inwardly. It's because of this that this superior soul demon took a fancy to me. If you want me to retrieve the Earth Dragon God's true blood, it's useless to us, and we can't use it at all. He promised me that if I brought back the true blood of the Earth Dragon God, I would get a lot of benefits. A superior soul demon put him in an important position. No wonder Black Peak was so hesitant. After hearing the whole story, Wang Feng had a rough idea. The true blood of the Earth Dragon God. If it's true, the value of this information is enough to make you my most humble servant. Wang Feng affirmed. Black Peak was overjoyed. He couldn't wait to become the other party's servant. The other soul demons could only look on enviously. Give me your soul, Wang Feng said casually. Yes. Black Peak looked at Wang Feng with a face full of reverence. Suddenly, a dark red light erupted from his body, and a six-sided prismatic core lit up from his head. Wang Feng felt that this thing looked very ingenious. It looked like a simple prismatic core, but there were at least hundreds of millions of special components on its back. If it could be enlarged infinitely, Wang Feng suspected that this thing contained a small world. Even if soul guidance technology developed for tens of thousands of years, it might not be able to develop this thing. I'll open the memory core immediately and find the location of the true blood of the Earth Dragon God, Black Peak said hurriedly. He was afraid that Wang Feng would return. Wang Feng nodded faintly. He was not in a hurry. After a while, as this diamond-shaped core spun rapidly in mid-air, Black Peak breathed a sigh of relief. Then he told Wang Feng the specific location. Your Honor, can you accept my soul now? Black Peak asked carefully. Of course. Wang Feng held this memory core with one hand and felt that he could control the latter soul. This memory core was encrypted in a special way, and only Black Peak's soul power could open it. Forcibly opening it would only lead to self-destruction. It was very special. The moment Wang Feng held it in his hand, he felt Black Peak's soul and directly broke it without hesitation. In an instant, before the ecstasy on Black Peak's face could be seen, his whole body froze. Why are you doing this? His face was full of question marks. The other soul demons were stunned as well. Wang Feng thought for a long time and finally came up with a reason. You are too ugly. Being my servants will affect my image. I can't tolerate my image being polluted by you. Of course, these soul demons could injure the silver dragon, and this alone gave Wang Feng many reasons to kill them. Black Peak's eyes were filled with shock until his death. This was probably a reason for him to feel despair. Then, Wang Feng used the mo syllable to kill the other soul demons and walked toward the silver dragon. Why are you here? The silver dragon opened his eyes and felt a familiar aura. He looked at Wang Feng in surprise. But now, he seemed a little different. You left a message, so I naturally came. Wang Feng shrugged and looked at the silver dragon's huge body and the wound. Let's not talk about other things first. Let me help you take this thing out first. I can't take it out. The silver dragon's tone was a little helpless. I've tried. It's useless. I have a way. Wang Feng smiled. It'll just hurt a little. Bear with it. End of chapter. Chapter 1387. Oh, the silver dragon answered indifferently. That thing is called the God-slaying ridge. It's a weapon specially developed by the Dark Demon Realm to deal with certain experts. Wang Feng explained. I heard that this weapon is made using the life forms of the Dark Demon Realm as a medium. From the beginning of every life form's birth, their parents or elders will implant the embryo of this weapon into their spinal cord. At the same time, the embryo of this weapon has a unique magic breeding system that can provide these life forms with a complete knowledge chain. Speaking of this, Wang Feng frowned slightly. Then it will follow the life form's growth and guide them to forge and cultivate this unique weapon. It's a very strange weapon. This was the information Wang Feng obtained from Black Peak's memory demon core. Not every soul demon had such a weapon, because many soul demons were unable to forge the God-slaying ridge, and those that could successfully forge it meant that they had great potential. Black Peak was valued by that high-rank soul demon because of this. Magic breeding system? The silver dragon seemed to be somewhat interested. How much do you know about the Dark Demon Realm? Wang Feng felt that the silver dragon had no intention of letting him take it out. He was in no hurry. I don't know much. I've never been there. From the dragon god's inherited memories, I know that this world is very powerful and very special. The silver dragon turned slightly and crawled on the third surface to reduce the pain in its body. According to my estimation, the Dark Demon Realm is much stronger than the God Realm, mainly because their growth path may be completely different from that of the Douluo God Realm. Wang Feng shook his head slightly. The magic breeding system is similar to a memory inheritance. It contains a large amount of predecessor knowledge that can be passed to newborn life forms through the embryo of the God-slaying ridge. It allows them to quickly strengthen themselves in the process of growth and then refine the God-slaying ridge. And according to different soul demons and their achievements, the power of the God-slaying ridge refined will be different. This is a unique way of growth in the Dark Demon Realm. The reason why it can't be taken out is that this item has a special soul password. Once it enters the body of a God rank expert, the magical structure of the God-slaying ridge will nibble away at the expert's body. Without a fixed soul secret, it can't be taken out by force. That's because the deicide spine has a powerful memory function. The moment it pierces your body, it will analyze the composition of your blood, the purity of your divine power, and the deeper level of your soul energy. When the deicide ridge is backed up with these healing materials, unless you destroy it, even if you amputate it, it will automatically attack and pierce into your body. It won't stop until you die. Other than the pain, do you feel a slight tremor in your soul? What Wang Feng said was very mysterious. The silver dragon's comprehension ability was extraordinary, so he roughly understood. The path taken by the Dark Devil world was similar to the soul guidance technology of the Douluo world. However, it was even more powerful and terrifying, and it was definitely mixed with an even more powerful cultivation method. It was a combination of multiple cultivation methods. It was amazing. You know so much. Did you encounter those soul demons on your way here? The silver dragon asked. That's right. While we're at it, we'll take care of it. But I didn't feel any strong energy fluctuation. How did you deal with it? Of course, it was impossible for him to feel it. Wang Feng had disguised himself as demon god to kill those soul demons. As an old impersonator, Wang Feng was very experienced in disguises. However, the complex multi-cultivation system of the Dark Devil world made Wang Feng a little worried that he would be easily seen through. This, I'll tell you when I have time. Wang Feng didn't intend to tell her. If you don't want to say it, then forget it. The silver dragon looked at the distant sky. There was a long silence. She still said, "Can you really help me take it out?" "Of course." Wang Feng nodded. "Then give it a try." The silver dragon turned sideways and exposed the wound. The location was on the lower body, toward the waist. Of course, this was the silver dragon's true body. Her silver scales still looked beautiful. Even though there wasn't much sunlight in this area, and the scales couldn't reflect the light, they were still exquisite, like a work of art. Her 100-meter-long body had shrunk dozens of times. Shrinking her body was mainly to conserve divine power. Of course, as a silver dragon, she still had to maintain her dignity, so she only controlled her body to be about 100 meters. If she was too small, that would be too ridiculous. There was no blood flowing out of the wound. This wasn't a good sign because the blood was absorbed by the God-slaying ridge. The God-slaying ridge contained a system with powerful calculation ability. It would analyze and decipher the enemy's divine power based on their blood. Naturally, it needed to be absorbed. However, this Dark Devil leader was very weak. The God-slaying ridge he refined was only of the lowest grade. It would take a very long time to analyze everything about the silver dragon. Therefore, to the silver dragon, this God-slaying ridge wasn't dangerous. Furthermore, the material of the God-slaying ridge itself was extremely sturdy. It wasn't realistic to want to break it easily. If it was a titled Douluo of this world, this God-slaying ridge would have the effect of killing them instantly. This thing could only be unlocked with soul power. Theoretically speaking, Black Peak was already dead. His soul didn't exist anymore. This God-slaying ridge could never be unlocked. It could only be destroyed by force. Fortunately, Black Peak gave up his soul. Wang Feng had everything he had and also inherited this God-slaying ridge. In other words, this God-slaying ridge had already recognized him as its master. However, he needed to connect with this God-slaying ridge now. He closed his eyes and placed one hand on the wound. He injected his spiritual power into it. Wang Feng could hear voices ringing out continuously. Demonic cause authentication, 0%. Demonic cause out of memory, unable to authenticate. Activating automatic analysis mode, analyzing, 0%. 0%. Unable to analyze demonic cause. Unable to analyze demonic cause. Entering demonic soul connection. Connection failed. Activating self-destruct mode. 0%. 50%. 100% demonic soul connection successful. Belongs to the Demonic Emperor's Army's 38,675 Division. Codename Black Peak. Serial number 1024 trillion. Demonic soul change. God-slaying reset. Conducting demonic soul authentication. Searching known memory. Search complete. Unable to find demonic soul connected to life. Conducting demonic soul analysis. 0%. Analysis failed. Reanalysis. 0%. Analysis failed. Unable to analyze. Demonic soul connected to life unknown. Request to headquarters to access the Demonic Emperor's demonic soul memory. Insufficient authority. Transfer failed. Taking low-level measures. Authenticating according to predecessor's memory. Authentication successful. Connected life as demonic god die. Do you want to upload authentication? Do you want to disconnect destruction of target's life? Please confirm. Wang Feng was taken aback by the metallic voice that came out of his mouth. It actually reminded Wang Feng of the system. However, the system's voice was even colder. There was no trace of emotion. The voice from this god-slaying ridge sounded more like the voice of an artificial intelligence. End of this chapter. Chapter 1388. Conservatively speaking, the technology of the dark demon world, even in my previous life, is several dimensions beyond. Wang Feng vaguely knew why the god world had no power to fight back. With the methods of the dark demon world, the methods of the god world might be a little outdated. This was something Wang Feng never expected. From the beginning, when the soul demon appeared, Wang Feng thought that the dark demon world was a world similar to the god world. But as his understanding of the soul demon deepened, he felt that this life form was ridiculously powerful. That feeling was like a life form that had undergone countless genetic modifications. From the physical body to the spiritual soul, it was much stronger than the soul masters of the Douluo world. Break off the analysis of the target's life form. Wang Feng moved his mind. In an instant, from the wound, a long reddish-black spine was slowly pulled out from the silver dragon's body. The silver dragon's body trembled slightly, as if she felt an intense pain and her soul trembled. This feeling was not good, as if a spiral knife was inserted into the body and twisted out as it spun. The external structure of the deicide ridge was like this. Fortunately, the silver dragon was not an ordinary soul beast, so this pain was nothing. When he saw the long spine slightly exposed, Wang Feng grabbed it with his hand and pulled it out at lightning speed. "Hiss! What are you doing? Can't you be gentler?" This hurt the silver dragon. The pain suddenly increased by several times. She hadn't reacted yet. "It's better to shorten the pain than to prolong the pain," Wang Feng said. The silver dragon was silent. Wang Feng looked at the deicide ridge, which looked no different from a round rod, and it was like a metal without any gaps, as if it was one. But if one had X-ray vision, one would find that the internal structure of the deicide ridge was very complicated. Wang Feng didn't have X-ray vision, but at this moment, he could still feel the internal structure of the deicide ridge, which was composed of many components that Wang Feng had never seen before. He had never seen the materials before, but it could easily change its shape. It could even be broken down into fine ridges, folded and changed, and stored in various parts of the soul demon's body. The inside of this thing is a unique space, which seems to be able to hide and change. It's somewhat similar to the soul domain space. Thinking of this, Wang Fengxin shuddered. Wang Feng had infused the laws of space into his life-soul contract. It was the power of the laws of space that allowed the soul ring to have a unique space. These laws were comprehended by Wang Feng from the life origin core on Sacred Mountain. Who would have thought that this weapon would also contain some of the spatial laws? With a thought from Wang Fengxin, the item instantly disappeared from the space and entered his body. And this is the lowest grade of deicide ridge. If it were made by those soul demons, I wonder how terrifying it would be. Wang Feng was deeply worried for the God realm. This weapon should be the great weapon that the dark demon world used to deal with the God world. In a battle of this level, the scariest thing was to use an unknown power to crush the opponent. What are you thinking about? The silver dragon saw that Wang Feng was in a daze. While recovering from his injuries, he took the initiative to speak. "Thank you for just now. You've helped me again." With a thought from Wang Fengxin, the deicide ridge reappeared in his hand. "This thing is very troublesome." The silver dragon nodded. It was indeed troublesome. With the strength of that soul demon, he could use this thing to injure him. This was enough to show how powerful this weapon was. "Tell me when you've recovered." Wang Feng still planned to look for the dragon god's blood. According to Black Peak's memory soul core, the dragon god's blood was inside this forest. Black Peak didn't know the origin. Wang Feng suspected that the high-rank soul demon should have gotten the news from the Golden Dragon King of the God Realm. Otherwise, how could the dark demon world have news of the dragon god's blood? The dragon god had never been to the dark demon world. "I've almost recovered." When will I go to the god realm? Not long after, the silver dragon slowly stood up. Her recovery ability was astonishing. From the outside, there were no traces of her injuries, and even the dragon scales had grown back. This was the power of the dragon god's bloodline. Soon, do you want to transform into a human first? Wang Feng looked at the silver dragon's huge appearance and felt a little strange. The silver dragon was silent for a while, then suddenly pointed to the sky with her wings and said, "Look, what's that?" Wang Feng immediately turned to look at the sky in the distance. There's nothing? Wang Feng was a little confused, but a silver light flashed behind him. Nothing? When Wang Feng turned around again, he saw that the silver dragon had already transformed into a human. She was dressed simply in a silver corset dress. Her silver hair shone like a waterfall. Her figure was graceful and perfect, and her temperament was like a cold snow and proud plum. Wang Feng. Oh, then you might be slow to react. The silver dragon's voice was clear and indifferent, and she still had that cold demeanor. Wang Feng felt that he might have missed something just now. I learned from the soul demon's memory that there's a drop of the dragon god's true blood nearby. Wang Feng said, I have to find this drop of dragon god's true blood first, and then go to the god realm. Dragon god's true blood? The silver dragon was obviously stunned for a moment. If there's dragon god's true blood in this place, I should have sensed it long ago. Maybe it's hidden, so you can't sense it. Wang Feng still believed in the system. Wang Feng wasn't sure if this drop of dragon god's blood was created by the system out of thin air, but judging from the cause and effect, it shouldn't be. But the system already knew that there was dragon god's blood here, so it gave him this information. The silver dragon didn't speak, but looked at Wang Feng with a serious face, as if saying, "Then how do I find it?" Wang Feng headed toward the destination according to the location in Black Peak's memory of the demon core. The location was very special, right in the center of this ruin. In other words, the center of the evil demon forest. The silver dragon's attack directly destroyed the entire evil demon forest. It caused the energy in this place to be extremely chaotic, and even the range of spiritual power perception was sharply reduced. Arriving at the center, Wang Feng didn't sense anything, not to mention the dragon god's true blood. There wasn't even the blood of an ordinary soul beast. Strange, the location is here. Could it be that the information in Black Peak's memory of the demon core was fake? Wang Feng looked around. The ground was reddish-black. There was a slight dark energy. I didn't sense it. If there's really dragon god's true blood. The silver dragon frowned slightly. I don't think it can be here. And dragon god's true blood is related to dragon god's cultivation. How could he leave his true blood in this place for no reason? Wang Feng also nodded, feeling a little inconceivable. Could it be underground? Wang Feng looked at the ground. It was also impossible. Through the perception of spiritual power, if dragon god's true blood was underground, this forest would have already undergone a drastic change. However, Wang Feng suddenly thought of the history of the evil demon forest. It seemed to be possible. It was possible that they had really hidden themselves. I should know something. Wang Feng looked at the silver dragon and said slowly, "Give me a drop of your blood essence." What do you want to do? The silver dragon frowned slightly. This chapter ends. Chapter 1389. You are a descendant of the dragon god's origin. Your essence blood must resonate with the dragon god's true blood. Wang Feng's words were concise. The silver dragon pondered for a moment. She stretched out her snow-white palm and clenched it as if she was holding a precious pearl. A drop of pale, silver blood flowed out from the center of her palm. It emitted a fragrant scent. What do you want to do? The silver dragon asked. Wang Feng smiled. Do you know the history of this evil demon forest? In the history of the Sun-Moon Empire, this forest gathered dark and evil energy of heaven and earth all year round. Therefore, the soul beasts here were affected by it, and have always been fierce and evil. If the evil soul beasts lost their consciousness and killed because of the dark demonic energy, then the only difference between the original soul beasts and the evil soul beasts is that they have their own consciousness. There isn't much of a difference in other aspects. Therefore, the origin of this forest is very strange. Before Wang Feng came to the evil demon forest, he naturally had some understanding of this forest. He also knew that there used to be several powerful evil soul beasts in this forest. They were all over 100,000 years old. There was even one that was close to 1,000,000 years old. However, they should have all become evil soul beasts. Even the soul demons couldn't withstand the silver dragon's attack. Naturally, they couldn't have survived. That drop of the dragon god's true blood shouldn't be normal. Wang Feng said slowly. He stretched out his hand and placed the Godslayer Ridge in his hand. It floated in midair. With a thought, the Godslayer Ridge emitted a faint light toward the silver dragon's blood. Godslayer Ridge discovered known life energy. 0.9% of memory storage. Unable to devour and analyze without Taotai. Unable to perform voidification calculations without voidification. Continue to analyze life energy. Estimated time, 100 years. No. The voice from inside the Godslayer Ridge sounded in Wang Feng's consciousness. The silver dragon watched intently. It seemed to want to know what Wang Feng was going to do. Can you scan the surroundings and find similar life energy? Wang Feng asked in his consciousness. Yes. How long will it take? Using magic energy to scan, it can detect any space below the dark demon realm, illusions, seals, microscopic dimensions, and so on. It's a special area that normal life's spirit energy can't detect. It will consume a large amount of spirit energy. With demon god Dai's spirit energy, it is being calculated. The magic energy scan can cover a range of 3,000 meters with this place as the center. Do you want to scan? Let's scan it. The scan needs to analyze at least 0.1% of the life energy of the target. It will take 10 days. If he scanned directly, the range would be reduced to 300 meters. And it's not accurate. That's enough. Let's try 300 meters. Executing, Wang Feng smiled. This God-slaying ridge was very interesting. This thing was like technology, but it was not limited to technology. Wang Feng didn't even understand many of the terms, but he understood what the deicide ridge was trying to express. As his voice fell, the deicide spine flew out of Wang Feng's palm and landed on the ground beside him. Following this, his spine started to change. The originally smooth spine started to give off countless rays of purple-black light that spread out in all directions. Since he could not sense it with his mind power, Wang Feng could only think of other ways to sense it. The true blood of the dragon god must be here, but might be hidden by special means. Since this god-slaying ridge was the technology of the dark demon realm, even if this one was of the lowest level, it might not be impossible to discover. After all, the god-slaying ridge could even hurt the silver dragon. It was enough to prove that it was still something. What are you doing? The silver dragon vaguely knew that Wang Feng was controlling this weapon that hurt him to do something, but did not understand very well. Don't talk. Wait. Wang Feng shushed it. The God-slaying ridge's scan was a very special energy scan with an extremely powerful core drive. Wang Feng could not understand the structure of the God-slaying ridge in a short time. This thing was too delicate. Since he had obtained this item, Wang Feng naturally had to make the best use of it. Only by doing so could he have a deeper understanding of the dark demon realm. After waiting for about a few hours, the two of them patiently talked about what happened in the past few days, until Wang Feng finally heard the God-slaying ridge's voice. Discovered a similar life, energy, aura similarity, 60%. Unable to guide. This life energy is sealed in a special way. It cannot be sensed, unlocked, or destroyed. It can be analyzed, but the analysis is extremely difficult. Currently located 230 meters below ground. As expected, Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. The God-slaying ridge was really something. He really discovered it. But it was just a discovery. It seemed that he could not bring it out. The dragon god's true blood is sealed, Wang Feng said. I guess it needs a special method to unlock the seal. How much do you know about the dragon god? The silver dragon pondered for a long time and shook its head. I don't know. I was born after the dragon god died. I only have part of the dragon god's memory. There is no information about the seal of the dragon god's true blood in the memory, nor is there a way to unlock the seal. Let's go take a look first. Wang Feng pondered for a few seconds. The location is 230 meters below ground. Can you go? Please don't use this tone next time, the silver dragon said. Why? Because I feel that you are questioning my strength. The silver dragon waved its hand calmly. In an instant, the drop of silver essence blood suddenly fell to the ground. The ground suddenly cracked open. It was as if a huge abyss had opened up. The cracked area was extremely smooth and glossy. I forgot that you control the elements of heaven and earth. Whether it's the earth or the sky, it's not a problem for you. Wang Feng immediately looked down. Sure enough, he saw a faint layer of light. It was a round bead engraved with faint blood-colored lines. Wang Feng found that his spirit power could not sense this round bead. It was very mysterious. This seal is a level 3 space seal. It doesn't exist in this world. It only exists in a space that overlaps with this place. The God-slaying ridge gave an explanation. It was very mysterious. In Wang Feng's opinion, it should be related to simple space laws. So he purely used his spirit power to sense it. Of course, it also depended on who it was. If a God King were to sense it, this thing could probably be easily sensed. A God King was involved in the use of laws. Naturally, he could sense it. Could this thing really be left behind by the dragon god? Wang Feng briefly explained to the silver dragon. Otherwise, why would it be sealed? And why would the dragon god leave his essence blood here? This was essence blood. Did the dragon god have nothing to do after eating too much? So he left a drop of his essence blood? I don't know. What do you want the dragon god's true blood for? The silver dragon glanced at Wang Feng. You're not the dragon god's descendant. This essence blood can only increase your cultivation and change your physique. It's also very dangerous. Wang Feng smiled. Good stuff. Let's talk about it after getting it. Who cares if it can use it or not? He couldn't use it, but Long Xie could, right? Long Xie. Thinking of this, Wang Feng suddenly froze. Then what do you plan to do? I can't take this thing out. I think it's sealed to prevent this drop of dragon god's true blood from destroying this world. The silver dragon thought for a moment. Do you want to drip my essence blood on it and see if it can be activated? No need. Wang Feng took a deep breath and said slowly, Long Xie, come out. With a flash of light, Long Xie flew out. End of chapter. Chapter 1390. What's the matter, boss? Long Xie crossed his legs and flew in the air in an awkward posture. But he didn't care. Look at that thing. Don't you find it familiar? Wang Feng pointed at the bead. Long Xie looked over and was taken aback. Of course it does. I'm very familiar with it. Long Xie closed his eyes and sniffed. Isn't this the smell of the dragon god's evil thoughts? You can smell it. Wang Feng looked at him in surprise. Huh. Long Xie sneered, but didn't answer directly. Do you know how noble the dragon god's bloodline is? Boss, do you know why there's so many dragon bloodlines now? They're all descendants of the dragon god. Well, Wang Feng glanced at the silver dragon hesitantly. It should be because dragons are lustful, right? But it wouldn't be good to say that out loud. The silver dragon frowned. He seemed to know what Wang Feng wanted to say. The dragon god's bloodline isn't noble, but it's extremely difficult to pass down a dragon's bloodline. The dragon god mated with many life forms just to pass down his bloodline. The silver dragon looked at Long Xie and said indifferently, You're also a direct descendant of the dragon god, so you must know this. Plus, the higher the level of a life form, the harder it is to pass down his bloodline. Wang Feng understood this point. It was normal. It was like the cultivators in his previous life. The stronger they were, the harder it was for them to have children. Bullshit. Long Xie sneered. Everyone says dragons are lustful, but as direct descendants of the dragon god. Can you tell? Silver dragon, are you lustful? You've been pure for so many years. Do you have any lust? F***CK, this dog dared to say that? Wang Feng smiled. However, the silver dragon fell silent. Wang Feng glanced at him. Yes, if dragons were lustful, this silver dragon would probably, back in the day, the dragon god fucked the mothers of countless other races. He even gave birth to the 9 dragon kings, 9 little bastards. Long Xie laughed. He's a pervert. Are all his descendants as pure as him? Don't you think it's funny? Does it make sense? Passing down his bloodline, bullshit. Long Xie's words were simple and crude, just like Wang Feng. It really doesn't make sense, Wang Feng said. I'll tell you why the dragon god was so capable back then, said Long Xie. He didn't do it for the sake of inheriting a bloodline. There were many ways to pass on a bloodline, and he didn't need to use this method at all. At that time, there was a problem with his cultivation, and many evil thoughts and desires appeared in his heart. In order to become a god and reach a higher level, he could only choose to release these evil thoughts and desires. And I am one of the evil thoughts that he abandoned. If he doesn't exclude me, his heart won't be complete, unable to gain the recognition of the world. As for my evil thoughts, if I am not recognized by the heavens and earth, I will never be able to cultivate and will be punished by the heavens. From the moment my consciousness awakened, I used the method of devouring evil thoughts to painstakingly cultivate for 100,000 years. Long Xie seemed to recall the past. According to my calculations, I shouldn't have been able to pass that heavenly tribulation more than 10,000 years ago, because the heavens will not allow my evil thoughts to be so strong. But I miraculously made it through. If the dragon god's evil thoughts and desires were too strong, he would have had to endure such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. In order to cultivate and become a god, he had no choice but to expel his evil thoughts. Do you know how he did it? Long Xie sneered. It's very simple. He ked the mother of an alien beast and discovered that she had given birth to his child, so he placed his evil thoughts in her. Newborn life contains pure chi of heaven and earth, which can hide his evil thoughts for a while. Through this method, his evil thoughts and desires vanished, and he became the supreme, unparalleled dragon god, the #1 dragon god in the god realm. The path of a god is one where light and darkness coexist. But what you see is only the bright side of the dragon god. Wang Feng didn't know about this part of history. It was too obscure. Not even the god king knew about it, and there were no records of it in the god realm. If one want to call it a dark history, then it was a dark history. The silver dragon was silent. He was probably starting to believe Long Xie. That's why he's labeled as a dragon god. Long Xie shrugged. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to explain it. As a direct descendant of the dragon god's essence, why aren't you a dragon god? You're so pure that you don't even know what it's like to be a man, do you? Even that golden dragon king was the same. Wang Feng turned to the silver dragon with a peculiar expression. Could it be that this was the legendary 10,000-year-old dragon god? What are you looking at? The silver dragon's voice betrayed a rare hint of anger and embarrassment. The dragon god is a powerful being. Logically speaking, he should be more powerful than the 5 god kings after becoming a god, Wang Feng mused. However, he was killed by the 5 god kings, and in the end, he had no choice but to separate his essence and pass it on to his descendants. I don't think he should expel his evil thoughts and desires in this way. Oh, what do you think you should do, boss? Long Xie chuckled, and his serious expression completely vanished. Powerful beings should be able to control everything, including their evil thoughts and desires. Wang Feng thought back to his own journey. Setting aside evil thoughts, what's the point of living if you don't even have those desires? As long as you don't indulge in them and lose control, you can keep your soul clear and calm. Evil thoughts can't be eliminated, and no one can remain pure after experiencing thousands of years. There will always be evil thoughts arising from people and events. Expelling them is a sign of fear. Controlling them and not being affected by them is the style of a powerful being. Wang Feng thought for a moment. If the dragon god can control his evil thoughts and use his desires to become a god, he should be more powerful than the 5 god kings. That makes sense, Long Xie agreed. Nonsense, the silver dragon harumphed. However, He didn't refute Long Xie. Wang Feng also shrugged. There was nothing much to be said between the two of them. By the way, what does all that have to do with this? Wang Feng asked. Hee, I told you that I'm just one of the dragon god's evil thoughts, but the most important one. Long Xie looked at the drop of blood and sneered. This drop of dragon god's blood also contains the dragon god's evil desires. He sealed those desires into his essence blood to expel them. However, the dragon god still had some conscience and sealed it. Otherwise, this drop of dragon god's essence blood would have turned this place into an extremely evil place. It might have even affected soul beasts and humans. However, it looks like this place has already been affected. It's just not that serious. I see. Wang Feng was enlightened. This drop of dragon god's essence blood is somewhat useful to me, but it's too powerful. I can't use it at all. Long Xie shook his head. I'll have to wait for a long time. It's also quite compatible with me. If other dragons absorb it, they'll probably be controlled by the evil desires and unable to control themselves. Wang Feng nodded. If you can't absorb it, I'll absorb it, the silver dragon said slowly. Long Xie and Wang Feng both paused. Silver dragon, don't say I didn't warn you. If you absorb this drop of dragon god's essence blood, it'll be difficult for you to maintain your purity, Long Xie reminded. Oh, the silver dragon looked at Wang Feng and said, didn't your boss say that the strong have to control everything, including their desires? Now, I think what he said makes sense. I want to try. Wang Feng swallowed. He had a bad feeling in a chapter. Chapter 1391. The Silver Dragon's sudden decision caught Wang Feng off guard. Long Xie was stunned as well. Even the dragon god couldn't do it. Silver Dragon, do you think you can do it? Long Xie shook his head. Yes, even the dragon god couldn't do it. How could the Silver Dragon do it? I suggest you think about it, said Wang Feng. If she really used this drop of dragon god blood essence, Wang Feng did not know what would happen to the Silver Dragon King. It's exactly because the dragon god couldn't do it that I want to try. The Silver Dragon sounded determined. Wang Feng felt like it was because of what he said that the Silver Dragon had this idea. Long Xie glanced at Wang Feng as if to say, Boss, I can't stop you. No, Boss found it, said Long Xie. If you want to use it, you have to get his permission first. Long Xie's eyes flashed red as he flew toward the blood-red bead in the crack and grabbed it with his claw. The Silver Dragon frowned and looked at Wang Feng. This is the dragon god's essence blood. Theoretically, it belongs to the dragons. But since you found it, I can give you something in exchange. You really want to use it? Wang Feng thought for a moment. What are you going to give me in exchange? There aren't many things in the world that can compare to the dragon god's essence blood. Of course, the Silver Dragon King's tone was still very firm. I can agree to any of your conditions in exchange for this drop of dragon god blood essence. Any condition. It sounded so tempting, but Wang Feng wasn't going to fall for it. Any woman's condition usually had a lot of hidden conditions. It was troublesome. Forget it. Wang Feng thought for a while and decided to take a step back. If you want to use it so much, then go ahead. But let me say this first. I won't help you if you have an adverse reaction after using it. If it harms the soul beasts, I won't help you either. The Silver Dragon paused. It didn't expect Wang Feng to be so nice. Of course, you don't have to be responsible for my own choices. The Silver Dragon nodded gently. But I don't want to owe anyone. At this point, she fell silent. Long Xie, give it to her. Long Xie had no choice but to give it to the Silver Dragon. This contains a special seal. Fortunately, the dragon god's blood essence is related to me, so I could take it out. Long Xie smiled. Perhaps I'm the only one in this world who can extract this drop of essence blood without resorting to force. Long Xie touched the top of the bead with his sharp claws. The surface of the bead immediately rippled like mist, and then a drop of essence blood overflowed from the bead in the center of the ripples. Boundless and ruthless energy erupted from this drop of blood essence like a torrential flood. Catch! Since you want to consume it, you have to consume it in time. Otherwise, this drop of blood essence will cause the world to change. Changing the surrounding energy environment for a long time will be troublesome. Long Xie sighed and gave the drop of blood to the silver dragon. Then, he entered the soul realm. The silver dragon didn't hesitate to consume the drop of blood essence as soon as she got it. Of course, she didn't consume it. She absorbed it. She directly absorbed the energy of this drop of blood essence. Wang Feng took a few steps back, and then a few more steps back. He had a bad feeling. Why are you taking a step back? The silver dragon noticed Wang Feng's action and snorted. Do you think I can't control myself after I absorb it? No. Wang Feng shook his head. It's just a drop of essence blood. Even if it wants to take effect, it will take some time. As for me taking a step back, I'm thinking about something else. Oh. The silver dragon didn't believe Wang Feng. Then, she started to absorb the drop of essence blood. The essence blood of the dragon god was no ordinary item. She flew into the air and turned into a silver cocoon of light. Countless strands of energy condensed into substance and flowed around the cocoon of light. Occasionally, the cocoon would beat like a heart. From that drop of blood essence, Wang Feng could feel a strong, evil intent. Just like Long Xie said, the evil intent in that drop of essence blood might have formed a consciousness. It wouldn't be easy to absorb it. Of course, consuming the essence blood of the dragon god was also beneficial to the silver dragon. Unlike Long Xie would need at least 100,000 years to absorb the essence blood, and it might not be able to bear it. For the silver dragon, it might be able to increase her limit. Even if she wanted to forcibly absorb it, it wasn't impossible. So Wang Feng didn't refuse. Wang Feng sat on the ground and watched from afar. By the way, system, I want to ask, one-day trip to the divine realm. Can you send me to the divine realm anytime? Bored to death, Wang Feng began to ask about how to go to the divine realm. After a while, the system replied slowly, yes, sir. Yes. How will you send me to the divine realm? Wang Feng continued to ask. There is a passage. The system replied. Impossible. The passage between the soul world and the divine realm has disappeared. The passage between the divine realm and the divine realm is also gone. Wang Feng didn't believe it. The system didn't say anything. Wang Feng thought for a while and suddenly asked, You mean you can open a passage to the divine realm? If so, the system was quite awesome. The passage you open, can it only last for one day? One day in the divine realm? Wang Feng continued to ask. Yes. The system finally gave an answer. Sure enough. System, where are you? I can't feel you in my soul, but I can feel that God Slayer. Wang Feng decided to ask some more in-depth questions. Huh. The system seemed to be mocking and fell into silence. Seeing this, Wang Feng didn't intend to ask too much. Then, Wang Feng asked about other things. For example, can I open a passage at any time? Can I bring one person or other people? The system's answer was not beyond Wang Feng's expectations. He can only bring one passage, and after passing through one, it will close and the divine realm will reopen after one day. Of course, according to the system, if he doesn't return within one day, he can't return to the soul world, unless Wang Feng's body awakens and opens a passage to the divine realm himself. Wang Feng wasn't worried about this. He can only go to the divine realm. That's troublesome. Only one passage is allowed. Then the silver dragon can't go. Am I going to go back on my word? Coughing a few times, Wang Feng looked into the distance. The conversation with the system has been going on for a long time, but the cocoon of light didn't change. However, more and more violent energy overflowed from it, as if it was nurturing some terrifying life. On the night of the third day, the cocoon of light finally changed. Wang Feng's spirit shook. He almost wanted to stand the silver dragon up and let the system open a passage to the divine realm. Under the moonlight, the silver cocoon of light began to glow with a faint blood color. Finally, it completely turned into a blood-colored cocoon of light, and then quickly shrank as if it was being absorbed. Anxiously, a huge life force came from inside. With this aura, Wang Feng knew that the silver dragon must have become stronger. The effect of this dragon god blood should be very good for her. Then Wang Feng saw the silver dragon floating in the air. From afar, she didn't seem to have changed much. Her hair was still bright silver with a hint of white light. Her face, clothes, and body shape didn't seem to have changed. Only that pair of eyes remained. From the previous silver, they had become a faint blood color. Her gaze was no longer as calm as before. It was like a turbulent undercurrent, suppressed under the boundless sea, as if a monstrous wave could erupt at any time. And her gaze was full of aggression, especially when her gaze fell on him. Wang Feng felt a strong sense of aggression and aggression. The silver dragon was like a volcano about to erupt. Once it erupted, who knew what would happen? F***, I knew it. It's not that simple. Wang Fengxin cursed in his heart. But even so, the silver dragon still calmly landed on the ground. She should be considered to have recovered to her peak strength. Although her injuries were more or less healed, her strength wasn't at its peak. Until now, she should be considered to have returned to her peak strength. She might not be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with a god king, but she could definitely beat a level 1 god. When are we going to the heavenly realm? The silver dragon asked faintly. Her voice didn't seem to have changed much. Wang Feng couldn't tell, but he felt that she was obviously suppressing something. Her pair of pale, blood-red eyes were like rubies embedded in her snow-white face, giving her a bewitching beauty. It was less pure silver like before, untainted by a speck of dust. There was a hint of desire in his eyes. Her voice was calm, but her eyes, looking at Wang Feng, seemed to hide a giant beast that wanted to swallow Wang Feng. Are you okay? Wang Feng asked. Do you think I'm not okay? I've absorbed most of the dragon god's blood essence. The silver dragon's expression changed slightly, and her tone was unfriendly. Wang Feng was stunned. If it was like before, the silver dragon wouldn't be so emotional. It seemed that because of that drop of dragon god's blood essence, the silver dragon's emotions were not as calm as before. Of course not. Wang Feng shook his head. To the heavenly realm, I can open a passage here, but the passage can only accommodate me. But you promised me before. The silver dragon walked closer, and her gaze fell on Wang Feng, as if she wanted to strip Wang Feng naked. This aggressive gaze really made Wang Feng somewhat unable to bear it. Was the dragon god like this in the past? Sure enough, it was an old dragon that had given birth to so many kinds of dragons. I'm sorry. At this time, the silver dragon took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and said slowly, I just finished absorbing, and I can't control it well. If I offended you, please forgive me. It's okay, it's okay. Wang Feng was really afraid that the silver dragon would use force. But it seemed that the silver dragon's willpower was firm, and her control was amazing. Although the passage can only take one person, Wang Feng said, but the soul-bonding beast can be brought up together because the soul-bonding beast itself is in the soul ring and is not restricted by the passage. You mean, let me be your soul-bonding beast? The silver dragon frowned slightly. That's right. Wang Feng nodded. When you go to the god realm, you can find a chance to remove it. You probably only need to pay a certain amount of life force. I need to pay a certain amount of soul power. This is the rule of the life soul contract. The silver dragon's closed eyes did not open, as if thinking about the feasibility of the method. The life-soul contract itself could be removed, and it was not compulsory. So this method was still reliable. I have no way to open the passage to the god realm. How can you open it? The silver dragon still had her eyes closed and asked calmly. This is my personal secret. Wang Feng refused to answer. The silver dragon frowned slightly, as if dissatisfied with this answer. After a while, she nodded slightly. Okay. In that case, let's not delay. Wang Feng nodded and immediately let the system open the passage. The system was very powerful, and the way it opened was very rough and simple. In order not to be exposed, the system directly obtained the authority of the Godslayer, and then used the Godslayer to open a passage in midair. But in the eyes of the silver dragon, it naturally thought that Wang Feng did it. In fact, this was done by the system. This passage was like a teleportation door, covered with a layer of light curtain. According to the system, One could reach the god realm by walking through it. As for the specific location, it was up to him to decide. After taking back the God Slayer, Wang Feng immediately signed a life soul contract with the Silver Dragon. The content of the soul contract was not complicated, but the Silver Dragon was very powerful in the past. Most likely, the rules of the life soul contract did not bind her much. In other words, if the Silver Dragon wanted to unilaterally remove it, it could. There was no other way. The life soul contract was created by Wang Feng for the Douluo world, using the law of life he comprehended. But unfortunately, Wang Feng's comprehension of the law of life was limited, and he was not strong enough, so he could not make the life soul contract have an effect on this kind of powerhouse comparable to a god king. After the soul contract was completed, a majestic life energy was injected into Wang Feng from the Silver Dragon's body. At the same time, a soul energy also entered the depths of the Silver Dragon's soul. What pure soul energy! The Silver Dragon was slightly surprised. Logically speaking, the soul of a human should not be so pure. If one absorbs this soul energy, even a 100-year soul beast will have the intelligence of a 100,000-year soul beast, and the soul will also be purified to a certain extent, and all aspects related to spiritual power will be greatly improved. The Silver Dragon felt a little scared. Even a god king, might not have such a pure soul. This kind of soul was simply a treasure. Of course, Wang Feng's soul had been burned and tempered by the red lotus karmic fire, so it was naturally incomparably pure. Of course, this kind of purity was the purity of the energy form, and was not directly related to one's thoughts. The moment she felt this soul energy, the Silver Dragon even had the thought of directly devouring Wang Feng's entire body. She knew that this was the desire that tainted her soul after absorbing that drop of blood essence. Longing, burning desire, especially after absorbing this soul energy. That feeling made the Silver Dragon feel extremely comfortable. It was like a thirsty person drinking a glass of water, that kind of comfort. But a glass of water could not solve the problem. It needed more and more, and it would produce an even more terrifying desire. It would be fine if he didn't drink it, but he drank a small mouthful. This kind of desire was even more like adding oil to the fire, burning even more fiercely. So, when Wang Feng had just finished absorbing the Silver Dragon's life energy and opened his eyes, he saw a pair of blood-red eyes. She stared at him. There was a strong and undisguised desire in those eyes, as if the owner of those eyes would pounce on him at any time. Into this chapter. Chapter 1392. Douluo Divine World. Unknown Region. A magnificent city floated in the rainbow-colored sky. Below the clouds was a land made up of mountains and rivers. It was like an ancient painting, and it complemented the giant city in the sky. From the center of the giant city, there were several broad roads that stretched out in all directions like a waterfall of the Milky Way. It seemed to lead to an endless distance with no end in sight. Only some of the roads were blocked and filled with faint black smoke, as if a war had just taken place. Around the giant city, groups of handsome people flew by from time to time. There were also a few huge light figures that appeared and disappeared from the clouds. It was a strange sight. At the top of the giant city, there were 5 light pillars that soared into the sky, forming a light screen. Every once in a while, a cloud shadow would sweep across the entire giant city. From afar, the giant city looked like a towering tree with dense branches. It was conical in shape, and it was filled with an ancient aura. There were countless patterns carved on the walls, like the traces of history, and it was unknown how many years it had been. The top of the giant city was already the end of the clouds. At this time, at the end, there were 5 indestructible light screens. It was as if a hole had been cut open by a pair of scissors, revealing a dark shadow in the sky. In an instant, the giant city trembled violently, as if the entire sky was trembling. Swish, swish, swish. Several figures came out from inside the giant city. They seemed to be wrapped in a layer of sunlight. Their colors were different, but they were dazzling. Your divine world has been defeated in the void battleground. and the lower realms have all submitted. Now that my master has personally come to the divine world royal city, you dare to resist instead of kowtowing? A majestic voice that was as trembling as the heavens came from the hole. As the voice fell, rays of light that tore through the void blasted out from the hole. They bombarded the light screen of the giant city. Countless ripples appeared on the light screen, but it was still unscathed. In the giant city, accompanied by this voice, countless figures flew out from various layers. From afar, each voice was like a speck of light of different colors, like fireflies that flew to the top. There were countless of them. If one were to magnify their vision by several dozen times, they would be able to see that each speck of light was a warrior from the divine realm. Under the Milky Way, the light of a firefly dares to bloom. Another figure came out from the opening. It was full of majesty. Demon Emperor's army, slaughter. As the cold voice fell, countless black dots of light suddenly sprang out from the gap in the sky and lined up neatly in midair. Countless dark-colored sharp blades shot out, accompanied by streaks of blade-like traces. If one were to take a closer look, the dark blades were none other than the deicide ridges. The battlefield extended to the entire sky. In an instant, countless specks of light dimmed and disappeared. Below the level of God Slayer, you can also call yourselves gods? You're just a slightly stronger ant, that's all. The cold voice seemed to be mocking him. At this moment, a water-colored circular light suddenly exploded in the void. At the same time, an ice-colored arc light was added to it, and countless deicide ridges were swept away. The water-colored circular light densely covered the sky. Countless dim specks of light regained some of their radiance under this water-colored circular light. What powerful divine power! I didn't expect there to be such a powerful god in King City other than those divine kings. Peak level 1? It's a pity that no matter how powerful you are, it's all in vain. Demon Emperor's army, limitless demonic formation. Di Wushuang, go and capture these two gods. The majestic voice seemed to be commanding, and the words it spoke were like rules and orders. The black dots of light changed endlessly in the sky and formed various attacks. One of the brightest black dots, like a dragon emerging from the sea, directly entered the light screen. This kind-hearted light that was like a black hole. All the light dots in its way disappeared in an instant. How dare you? At this moment, at the top of the sky, one of the 5 figures shouted in a delicate voice. At the same time, a golden light fell from the top of the giant city and attacked that shining black dot of light. Trident, Divine King Tang, San is fighting with me in the void. How dare you divert your attention and attack me? You're courting death. Seeing this, the majestic voice laughed loudly. Today is the day your king city of the divine realm and the divine realm committee disintegrate. It seemed to be disdainful. The moment the voice fell, a pitch-black demonic sword suddenly shot out from the crack in the sky. As the trident fell, the pitch-black demonic sword pierced through the void and hit the light screen directly. Then, it collided with the golden trident. A huge energy fluctuation and a terrifying explosive force seemed to have destroyed everything. Crack, crack, crack. Countless cracks appeared on the light screen. Once the cracks appeared, countless deicide ridges began to enter without any hindrance. The pitch-black dot of light, called Di Wushuang, was like a wolf in a flock of sheep. It wantonly destroyed the surrounding light dots. Above the clouds of the giant city, a muffled groan came from the crack in the sky. In the clouds, Tang San's face was as pale as a sheet of paper. The Azura armor on his body was slightly dimmed. "Third brother, how are you?" A beam of light flashed beside Tang San, and a beautiful figure appeared in the clouds. She asked with an anxious expression. "Not good." Tang San gritted his teeth. In the history of the divine realm, how could the dark demon realm be so powerful? How long has it been? The countless lower realms under the jurisdiction of our divine realm have fallen. I didn't expect them to be so powerful in the void battlefield. Xiao Wu's lips moved, but she didn't know what to say. It had been almost a year since the outbreak of the divine war. Before the outbreak, The Dark Demon realm already had a plan. Although Third Brother was keenly aware, the strength of the Dark Demon realm was too difficult to resist. It was already very difficult to tenaciously hold on for so long. The most troublesome thing was that the critical juncture of the outbreak of the Divine War was too exquisite. Among the 5 Divine Kings, 2 of them had retired. The 2 new Divine Kings who succeeded them had unstable foundations and insufficient strength. It was really difficult to compare with the demon gods of the Dark Demon realm. Moreover, the Dark Demon realm had endless means. All kinds of powerful weapons and special life forms made it impossible for the Divine realm to guard against them. It was only when the Divine War broke out that Tang San felt that the Divine realm was too weak. No, it should be that the Divine realm seemed to have been stagnant and sealed itself. It didn't explore and evolve in a more powerful direction. Even the lower realms that were found by relying on finding were very few. The Divine realm only had rules. The energy it produced was proportional to the psychokinesis of the lower realms. The more lower realms under its jurisdiction, the stronger the energy of the Divine realm. But just relying on this method alone was not enough to make the Divine realm stronger. In addition, the Dark Demon realm had already cut off the connection between many lower realms and the Divine realm. This caused the energy of the Divine realm to be much weaker. The strength of many gods dropped out of thin air. Chapter 1393. Most importantly, they couldn't see the path ahead. For example, Tang San himself, after cultivating to the Divine King realm, it was difficult for him to move forward. If he looked at the bright universe from afar, he clearly felt that it wasn't the end. However, it was difficult for him to find a way forward. Furthermore, the combat power of the Divine World and the Dark Demon World were not on the same level. For so many years, there were only 5 Divine Kings in the Divine World. Gods of all levels didn't think about becoming stronger, but finding a successor and then going to other worlds to live freely. Unfortunately, the longer Tang San was in power, the more he felt that the Divine World was not the end. The universe was too big. There were countless lives, all kinds of unfathomable cultivation methods, and many experts that he had never thought of before. In the Douluo world, he could only see these gods who stood at the peak of the world. However, standing in the Divine World, he realized that these gods were actually not a drop in the ocean in the universe. They were just slightly glowing. Rong Rong and Bing seemed to have been taken away. Zhuqing, the 2 Divine Kings, Dalu, Fatty, Oscar, and the rest were defeated in the Void battlefield. Now, even the Divine World's royal city can't be protected. Xiao Wu looked down at the Divine World's royal city from the void. Her face was as pale as snow. If only BB Dawn was still here. Tang San calmed down at this moment. He looked at the crack in the sky and sighed. She should be the 6th Divine King in the Divine World's Divine World Committee. She should have seen the bottleneck of our Divine World. So she chose to go to the Dark Demon World to find a way to break the situation. Unfortunately, Tom doesn't wait for us anymore. And my daughter, Xiao Wu's eyes were filled with tears. I don't know how she is in the lower realm. The Dark Demon World is so cruel. The Douluo world will definitely be in more danger. Tang San was stunned for a moment. His body trembled, and he seemed to have come back to his senses. A bitter smile appeared on his face. Douluo world. Wudong, I only just remembered. I'm really not qualified as a father. When the Divine War started, several Divine Kings were constantly on the move. They didn't even relax for a moment. Third Brother, it's not your fault. Xiao Wu held Tang San's hand and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. She looked at the crack in the sky. Third Brother, how long do we have to hold on? Tang San was silent for a few seconds. The Sea God's trident is already broken, but I still have the Azura sword. Tang San waved his hand and looked firmly at the crack in the sky. Let's fight to the last moment. At least, we should give ourselves some hope. He knew who the crack in the sky belonged to. He was the demon lord of the Imperial Demon Army and one of the 9 great demon gods of the Dark Demon Realm, Shang Demon God. His strength was on par with his. From a certain point of view, His individual strength was slightly stronger, because he was one. But he and Xiao Wu were one body, two of them. Hope, are you referring to Big Brother Feng? Xiao Wu lowered her head and smiled bitterly as well. With the current situation in the God Realm, even Big Brother Feng won't be able to reverse the situation, right? Tang Xin did not know. At this time, he just wanted to give himself a reason to persevere. Xiao Wu seemed to have understood what her lover meant and didn't say anything else. The giant city in the sky trembled violently. A blood-red rainbow light rose from afar. A majestic, demonic figure stood in the crack. He looked at the figure and the light screamed solemnly. He could vaguely feel the destructive intent contained in it. Deity King Tang San. He naturally would not underestimate him. Imperial Demon Child, what are you doing? Lord Yin is already here. It's just a king city of the God Realm, and there's only one deity, King Tang San, left. You still can't take it down? At this moment, an unhappy, ancient voice suddenly sounded. From the depths of the crack, three demonic figures appeared together. He's here. Imperial Demon Child seemed to be in disbelief. Impossible. I didn't sense it. Hell, look over there. One of the demonic figures pointed at the Cloud Realm City in the distance. Unknowingly, a majestic divine voice rang out from above the clouds. My name is Yin. From today onwards, this place is mine. Only the voice could be heard, but no figure could be seen. However, in the next moment, a giant palm pressed down from the sky. The rainbow light formed by the blood-red longsword was instantly shattered, leaving behind only a burst of bloody mist. At the same time, the giant city in the sky also fell with a loud rumble, shattering into pieces from the center. 5 pillars of light broke from the sky, and when the endless curtain of light shattered, it turned into countless specks of light. It was as if the curtain of an era had come to an end. In the brilliant universe, thousands of galaxies, if you don't advance, you'll die. The so-called God is just a person who has just climbed up the great path. I wonder how darkness and light can dominate a pure land. Use these lives to commemorate the birth of this new world. Once again, Emperor Devilchild heard an order from the existence called Yin. He bowed and bent his knees, bowing to the void. The majestic Imperial Demon Army and the countless black light spots did the same thing. Douluo World, Evil Demon Forest. Silver Dragon, wake up. Wang Feng felt a chill in his heart under the Silver Dragon's gaze. What is she trying to do? Wasn't she controlling it well, just now? Why did it suddenly become like this? Wang Feng didn't know that it was his soul energy that caused the Silver Dragon's desire, which was still under control, to suddenly erupt. Looking at the Silver Dragon that was about to pounce over and eat him, the Ming sound of the 8 chaotic sounds was immediately activated. This eat was the true meaning of eating. At least, that was what Wang Feng felt. Of course, there was also desire, but the desire in the Silver Dragon's eyes was a desire for the soul. This desire was not physical, but a desire of the soul. The Silver Dragon King was getting closer and closer to Wang Feng. The two of them were only a few centimeters apart. Wang Feng could even smell the faint fragrance coming from the Silver Dragon King's body. There was also an extremely rich fragrance. This fragrance could even intoxicate many experts. At the moment when she was about to grab Wang Feng's shoulder, the Ming sound of the 8 chaotic sounds was activated. Finally, the Ming word took effect. The Silver Dragon King's deep red eyes recovered some color. It had to be said that the 8 chaotic sounds were getting stronger and stronger. After some research, the Silver Dragon closed her eyes and began to tremble all over. After a long time, she didn't open her eyes, but it seemed to be much better. What kind of spiritual soul skill is this? The Silver Dragon finally opened her mouth. Even though she controlled it very well, Wang Feng could hear a little tremble in her voice. That feeling was like a woman who had taken sea pills, but was forcefully suppressing her voice. It was a little charming. However, this was just a metaphor. The actual difference was still not small. Cough, cough, a self-created spiritual soul skill. You should have rested well, right? Shouldn't we head out now? Wang Feng asked. And the Silver Dragon didn't seem to want to open her eyes. She just closed her eyes and said, Wait, Do it a few more times. I feel that your spiritual soul skill has some effect on me. Wang Feng nodded and immediately did it a few more times. The redness on the silver dragon's face began to slowly dissipate. Her tone also began to recover some calmness. Let's go. Chapter 1394. The dark sky was like a painting of mountains and rivers, but it only made one feel gloomy. From afar, there was the sound of a huge bell ringing, coming from afar. In an unknown mountain forest below. The forest here was a few hundred meters tall, some were even 1,000 meters tall like an ancient forest. Looking down from the sky, it was like a dark green ocean, endless. In the distance, there were many mountains, like a winding dragon splitting the earth. In the endless forest, at the top of a big tree. The leaves at the top were like banana leaves, about 100 square meters, very spacious. A figure stood at the top, looking around, confused, his pupils scattered. After a while, they slowly focused. This is the God realm, Wang Feng muttered. He brought the silver dragon, Long Xie, and Linlord Bing Mu through the system's tunnel, teleporting to the God realm. But the moment they entered the tunnel, Wang Feng felt a strong influence of the space laws. The soul domain was shaken after teleporting to the God realm, including the silver dragon, Long Xie, and Linlord Bing Mu, were all chased out of the soul domain by the space laws. They were probably at the other end of the tunnel. They were separated. He was all alone. After teleporting, Wang Feng fainted for a while, then woke up. Looks like the God realm is not good. Wang Feng took a deep breath. The majestic energy in the air entered his body from all directions. But the scene in the distance did not look like the world Wang Feng imagined. The energy in the God realm was strange. This energy was much stronger than the energy in the Douluo world. However, the pressure of absorbing the energy was even heavier on the physical body. But to Wang Feng, this was not a problem. This is a good place. Looks like something happened in the God realm. There was no one around, so Wang Feng did not rush. Without knowing the situation and not knowing where the silver dragon and the rest were, it was not good to walk around blindly. When Wang Feng came to the God realm, he had planned everything. First and foremost, he should not be in a hurry to find her. First, he raised his cultivation. His avatar's strength was not enough to do anything in the God realm. It was only level 50 if he did not raise his strength quickly. If they were to wander around aimlessly and encounter any danger, they wouldn't even be able to protect themselves. Most importantly, his clone would not be able to sense his main body in the God realm. He had yet to finish cultivating the middle chapter. It was impossible for him to use the strength of his main body in the God world. In that case, the danger would naturally increase greatly. Once he reached level 80, he'd be able to awaken 2 more types of purple vein origins. Even if he couldn't do as he pleased in the God realm, he'd at least be able to protect himself. This time should be very short. Wang Feng calculated from the intensity of the energy in the air. According to Wang Feng's estimation, it would take at most 1 or 2 days. His level would rise to a very high level because the energy concentration in this place was too dense. Of course, this was when compared to the Douluo world. The quality of cultivation far surpassed that of the Douluo world. Then, he would look for Tang San and the others. He did not come to the divine realm to reminisce about the past. From the news that he obtained from Zhuqing and Bibi Dan, Wang Feng knew that the divine realm and dark devil realm should be at war right now. After making up his mind, Wang Feng immediately began to search for the location with the highest concentration of energy in this ancient forest. As he pondered, Wang Feng tried to sense Long Xie's location. Unfortunately, the effect of the life-soul contract was greatly reduced in the divine realm. Wang Feng knew that this was the suppression of the laws. The life-soul contract was only for the Douluo world and could not be effective in the divine realm. Unless Wang Feng reached a very strong level and strengthened the life-soul contract, it would have the same effect in the divine realm. Losing the effect meant that he, Long Xie, and the others would not be able to sense them. This was bad news. The first feeling Wang Feng had when he came to the divine realm was that things were not going well. But Wang Feng had experienced many things that were not going well, so he naturally did not have many distracting thoughts. However, when the house is broken, it rains. After searching in this ancient forest for a while, Wang Feng received a piece of bad news. Although he had found an excellent place for cultivation, he was still able to cultivate. It was a deep ancient pond, but in the depths of the ancient pond, Wang Feng sensed a special life aura. This life aura was very familiar to Wang Feng because it was the life aura of Dark Devil Qi. Wang Feng stood behind an ancient tree and forced himself to enter a state of emptiness to strengthen his senses. On the edge of the ancient pond in the distance stood a giant beast that was at least 70 to 80 meters long. Its skin was dark and it looked like a lion, but its body was covered in black scales and its four hooves were covered in special armor. This armor was very strange. It looked like a whole body, but also like a weapon. It was very difficult to notice if one did not look carefully. Dark Devil Qi. There shouldn't be any soul beasts in the divine realm. Even if there were, it would be a divine beast of the divine realm. This aura, it's clearly a beast of the dark devil realm. Wang Feng was not panting, but his thoughts were getting deeper and deeper. This beast's aura was very strong. Wang Feng could not see through it. In that case, his strength would definitely be stronger than those deity-level fighting demons. And not just a level stronger. But why would a beast of the dark devil realm be in the divine realm? Wang Feng recalled the gloomy sky he saw at the top of the tree. There was an ominous premonition in his heart. Could it be that something had happened in the divine realm? Otherwise, why would they allow a demonic beast of the dark devil realm to appear in the divine realm? Wang Feng estimated that he should not be able to defeat this monster. At least with his current means, he would not be able to defeat it. If he used the identity of Demon God Dai, Wang Feng was worried that he would be seen through. After all, this monster was stronger than those 10-ring divine realm war demons see. Wang Feng left quietly. He planned to cultivate for a while first. After he left quietly, the monster suddenly turned around and looked at the place where Wang Feng left. Its bloody mouth let out a few soft murmurs. Oh, the divine realm's king city has fallen in the hands of the Yama king. All the lives in the divine realm have either been slaughtered, returned to this world, and turned into nourishment, or suppressed back to the dark devil realm. The remaining lives are struggling at death's door. I didn't expect to meet a divine realm war demon C. No, he's not a divine realm war demon C yet. It's just that the aura of this weak slave is really alluring. It seems to be more fragrant than the divine realm war demon C. Let's see if I brought any seasonings. Liyin powder, blood cloud liquid, demonic fishy grass. This is cumin powder. There's actually a little left. This is a very precious seasoning. Looks like I'll have to roast it later. This thing is very expensive to transport from that world. Wang Feng calculated the location and left the monster far away. Once again, he found a place to cultivate in silence. His cultivation speed was very fast. Wang Feng had never been to the divine realm. He did not know if the divine realm's time was also 24 hours a day. The sky was always gloomy. It was difficult to calculate the time, but Wang Fengxin was counting the seconds in his mind. Based on the soul power he absorbed and circulated in his body, it only took him less than 3 hours to go from rank 50 to rank 60. The energy between heaven and earth was too rich. However, after reaching rank 60, Wang Feng was shocked to find that it seemed that he could not advance anymore, because there was no soul ring. End of this chapter. Chapter 1395. Long Xie and the others weren't here, so they couldn't add new soul rings to Wang Feng. His soul power rank was stuck. The silent Wang Feng exhaled and stared at the sky. This was the second bad news. If he couldn't find Long Xie and the others, he couldn't increase his soul power rank. But if he want to find them now, Wang Feng felt that this place might be much more dangerous than he imagined. Then, if he encountered the monsters from the Dark Demon realm, Wang Feng felt that he might be finished right after he arrived. If he couldn't find them, he couldn't increase his soul power rank, he couldn't unlock the seal, and he couldn't obtain the origin power of the origin tribulation divine king. He seemed to have fallen into an endless loop. Two bad news in a row made Wang Feng feel the beginning of death. It was as if the original easy difficulty had suddenly become hell difficulty. So what if it's hell difficulty? Wang Feng calmed down. He began to think. The God realm was different from the Douluo world. The energy here was very special and very powerful. It was definitely not as convenient as soul power. The soul power in Wang Feng's body was close to divine power because of his light and darkness martial soul, but close didn't mean it was divine power. There was still a fundamental difference. Since I'm cultivating in the God realm, I don't have to follow the rules of the Douluo world. Wang Feng's heart skipped a beat, as if he had thought of something. Yes, this was the God realm. Why was he still limited by the rules of the Douluo world and still using them to cultivate? How did the gods in the God realm cultivate? Without a reference, Wang Feng couldn't know. He could only move forward according to his own ideas. Wang Feng first used the origin of the 7 purple lines in his body to temper the soul power in his body over and over again. He absorbed and tempered at the same time. His soul power rank began to fluctuate, and the soul rings on his body began to flicker. It was flickering. When all his soul power was tempered to the extreme, Wang Feng's soul power rank became lower. It regressed halfway. Then he continued to absorb the energy of the God realm. But he still couldn't break through to rank 60. Without soul rings, Wang Feng felt that his soul power was imprisoned. Even if it could continue to increase, the total amount wouldn't change, and the speed of absorption began to slow down. After half a day, Wang Feng's soul power turned into a pure soul power. In Wang Feng's opinion, it didn't even belong to divine power anymore. Even his soul rings had changed. From the previous black 10,000 years, it had turned into a faint rainbow color. This was a soul ring color that was not recorded in the Douluo world. It's useless. Wang Feng suddenly wanted a cultivation method. Other things aside, Wang Feng was not afraid even if he were to disperse his cultivation and recultivate. Unfortunately, Wang Feng didn't have a cultivation method, so he couldn't change his route. The system had never given him a cultivation technique. Clearly, I only need a few days to rapidly make a breakthrough. Yet, I'm completely restricted by this rule. Wang Feng's eyes were filled with helplessness. If he were to create his own cultivation technique, even in the divine world, it would probably take a very long time. A day here was equivalent to a year in the lower realm. Time was of the essence. How could he have the time to create his own cultivation technique? After thinking hard for a long time, Wang Feng was still in the same place. Calculating the time, a year should have passed in the Douluo world, right? Wang Feng gazed into the distance. He didn't expect that he would fail on his first day in the divine world. Roar! At this time, a low roar suddenly came from afar. It's that monster. Wang Feng immediately got up and left the treasure land. He didn't think he could kill that monster unless he used his identity as Died Demon God. But Wang Feng had an intuition that once he used it now, it would be useless, and he would even expose himself. That monster gave Wang Feng a feeling that it was too powerful. Unless his main body came, he could easily kill it. This clone wasn't even level 60, so he could only escape. Only when he reached level 80, Wang Feng felt that he could kill the other party. Wang Feng shuttled through the ancient forest, and the surrounding forest disappeared behind Wang Feng like a phantom. Because he didn't know anything about the divine world. Not knowing his exact location, Wang Feng could only follow the sound and leave in the opposite direction. However, the sound didn't disappear. It seems to be getting closer and closer. That monster should have discovered me. Getting this news made Wang Fengxin's mood even heavier. If there was the silver dragon or the evil dragon ice empress here, Wang Feng wouldn't be like this. The former had super strong combat power, and the latter two were the guarantee of the increase of soul power. Unfortunately, Wang Feng didn't know how long he ran. He seemed to feel that the monster chasing behind him was much weaker, and he could vaguely hear the laughter from the roar. It seemed to be teasing and playing with him. Wang Feng knew that the monster probably wanted to tease him. The creatures in the dark demon realm were very powerful. Not to mention the many planes under the jurisdiction of the Douluo world. They didn't even care about the divine world. In the eyes of that monster, he was probably the food on a plate, just that he could move. The day was very long. If he didn't get separated from the evil dragon Ice Empress in the Douluo world, he would have reached level 60 by now. So, it was wrong for me to come to the divine world? Wang Feng frowned slightly. There were too many unpredictable things, and Wang Feng felt that he had tried his best to avoid them. The reason why he brought the silver dragon, other than because it was a soul contract master, was actually to let the silver dragon help him when he encountered some dangers on his way to the divine world, so that he could quickly cultivate to a very high level in the divine world and increase his combat power. Unexpectedly, the passage disrupted Wang Feng's initial plan, and a series of things that followed were all messed up. The sky was still gloomy as if it was night, but there was still no change. Wang Feng leaned on the branches of an ancient tree. There were no other creatures in this ancient forest, not even the most basic of beasts. But there was no such thing as beasts in the divine world. Creatures that lived in this kind of energy were very powerful, even if they didn't cultivate. This is probably the most dangerous time for my avatar. Wang Feng shook his head. If it wasn't an avatar, it would have been the main body. His previous experience was relatively smooth, but the first day in the divine world was like stepping into a bottomless abyss. Everything was not as good as he imagined. He couldn't even make a breakthrough in cultivation. Wang Feng had already given up on cultivating soul power. He gave up half a day ago. Thinking about it, Wang Feng decided to give it another try. This time, he suddenly found that his soul power could increase. This discovery stunned Wang Feng for a long time. What's going on? Right at this moment, Wang Feng suddenly felt that there was a lot of special white energy in his body, and it was increasing at an extremely fast speed. What kind of energy is this? When did I cultivate? Wang Feng looked inside himself as if he had discovered a new continent. There was a lot of white energy in his body, and this white energy was pulsating in the shape of a ring. This energy was very strange, and it felt incomparably powerful. It was in the shape of a light mist, and it was formed in the shape of a ring from Wang Feng's body. It actually formed a milky white soul ring. No, this is... Wang Feng's mind flashed like a bolt of lightning. The power of faith? It's a soul contract master. End of chapter. Chapter 1396. Pure white energy pulsed all over Wang Feng's body, and at the same time, a white soul ring slowly rose from Wang Feng's body. This was not the white of 100,000 years. It was a kind of platinum, but the gold was very faint. This energy appeared out of thin air and seemed to have been hidden in Wang Feng's body, but it had not reached a certain amount, so it could not erupt. After a day in the God world, it seemed to have accumulated quite a lot. There was only one possibility for its origin, and that was the divine power of faith. This kind of soul ring condensed from the divine power of faith was a divine ring. It was also the foundation of cultivation for the gods of the Douluo divine world. One had to know that there were many small planes under the God world and endless lives. The gods of the Douluo divine world naturally relied on absorbing the power of faith condensed from these lives. This was a system that had been formed since the establishment of the Douluo divine world, or rather, it was related to the history of the God world. In order to weaken the God world, the Dark Demon world directly launched a war on other small planes for this purpose. Of course, the basic reason was that the Dark Demon world was stronger than the God world, but using this method was more energy efficient. Wang Feng still did not know that the God world had fallen. If not for this method, the Dark Demon world would have taken a long time to break through the God world. And Wang Feng's divine power of faith came from the soul contract masters. When Wang Feng first created the soul contract masters, he did not think of using this method to cultivate. The main reason was that it needed a long time to have an obvious effect. In fact, when every soul master and soul beast signed a life contract, Wang Feng's body would produce a trace of this special divine power of faith. And as these soul masters and soul beasts became stronger and more numerous, the divine power of faith would gradually increase. A year has passed in the Douluo world. It seems that in this year, the number of soul contract masters has increased. They're also getting stronger. The so-called light at the end of the tunnel was what Wang Feng was feeling now. The appearance of the divine power of faith gave Wang Feng a pleasant surprise. He did not care whether this divine power was strong or not. As long as he could continue to cultivate and obtain the 7 great origin powers of the Origin Tribulation Divine King, he did not even need to rely on this divine power of faith to become a god and directly inherit all the power of the Origin Tribulation Divine King. The cultivation of this martial soul would be complete. His strength could sweep through the Douluo divine world, so the dark demon world should not be difficult. According to the rules of Origin Awakening, one would awaken every 20 levels. Wang Feng needed to reach level 140. In the divine realm, there was no actual ranking system. There was only the ranking system of the gods and the amount of divine power they controlled to determine their actual strength. For example, first grade deity position, second grade deity position, third grade deity position, and so on. Anything below level 3 was no longer a deity position. Below the third grade deity throne, one's divine ring was basically determined by the number of divine rings. A divine ring wasn't a soul ring. The divine ring represented the power of the laws of the world, and it was formed from the power of faith of countless living beings, as well as the energy of the Douluo divine realm. Many of the most powerful beings in the small planes under the jurisdiction of the Douluo divine realm were unable to make further breakthroughs after reaching a bottleneck. If one didn't obtain the inheritance of a god position, then there was only one way to prove one's god position. That was to comprehend a stronger power and use that power to change one's own plane. From there, the life in that plane would produce new faith power, because being able to reach the fixed point of that world meant that one's talent, influence, and so on were 1 in a million in that plane. That was why he could use this method to create his own deity position. After sensing the divine power of faith in his body, Wang Feng finally understood what he had to do to create his own deity position in the Douluo divine realm. It had to be said that it was indeed very difficult. It might be easy for Wang Feng to do it himself, but don't forget, Wang Feng had comprehended the laws of life in the Divine Mountain for 10,000 years. 10,000 years. The laws of life from the God King of the Star Transformation world were of a higher level than the laws of the Douluo Divine Realm. Wang Feng estimated that it was at least 1 level higher. If it wasn't for comprehending the laws of life, Wang Feng wouldn't have been able to create a life-soul contract, let alone the birth of a soul contract master. Not to mention the divine power of faith now. From this, one could imagine how difficult it was to create one's own deity position. If one didn't use cheats, half a deity position was already very impressive. Speaking of which, the more divine rings one had, the stronger one was. There were usually only 3 level 3 deity positions, so with 3 divine rings, one could basically develop in the direction of a deity position. In reality, the formation of a divine ring was very difficult. In the Douluo divine realm, although there were many gods, those with divine rings were less than 4 digits. The rest were mostly demigod powerhouses with a demigod ring. Of course, these demigod powerhouses in other small planes were existences that surpassed the peak of the world. The so-called demigod ring only absorbed the energy of the divine realm for cultivation, and didn't have the power of faith from other worlds. For example, if a max-level title Douluo entered the divine realm and spent time to cultivate and could break through the upper limit of rank 100, then he would definitely condense a demigod ring. This demigod ring was condensed from the previous 10 soul rings. If it was purely in terms of levels, then rank 110 was the limit of a demigod ring. Only with a true demigod ring could one continue to cultivate. Otherwise, one could only stop in the Douluo divine realm. If one wanted to obtain a demigod ring, one had to find a small plane, experience it, change it, and comprehend it to become a true god. only with a true demigod ring. Every 2 demigod rings could increase the upper limit of rank 10. In other words, rank 120 was the limit of 2 demigod rings. If one wanted to break through rank 120, one had to have a 3rd demigod ring. And with 3 demigod rings, one could condense a deity tablet from these 3 demigod rings and become a true god. Therefore, rank 121 was actually the standard of a 3rd rank god. Similarly, rank 131 was a 2nd rank god with 5 demigod rings. Rank 141 was a 1st rank god with 7 demigod rings. The God King was naturally rank 151. A God King normally had 9 demigod rings. However, the Origin Tribulation God King's deity tablet was different. As mentioned earlier, under normal circumstances, rank 121 meant that 3 demigod rings could condense a deity tablet, the lowest being a 3rd rank deity tablet. But in order to inherit the Origin Tribulation God King's deity tablet, one had to obtain all 7 demigods and reach rank 141 at least. This meant that if Wang Feng wanted to completely obtain the Origin Tribulation God King's deity tablet, he had to reach rank 141 at least. From this, one could see how terrifying the Origin Tribulation God King was in the Douluo divine realm. At rank 141, he was already a 1st rank deity tablet. However, level 141 could only allow Origin Tribulation God King to condense a deity throne. Simply put, the upper limit of the Origin Tribulation God King was too high. It was the highest in the divine realm. Wang Feng still didn't know that in the past few decades in the divine realm, Tang San had also encountered a bottleneck. This was the problem of the upper limit. Even if Tang San had 2 deity tablets and cultivated to rank 141 and became a God King, but he had encountered a bottleneck and couldn't break through anymore. This was the upper limit. Either Tang San was a genius and spent thousands of years to change the cultivation rules of the divine realm and walk a new path himself, or he could only rely on fortuitous encounters in the universe to change it. But the Origin Tribulation God King could at least cultivate to rank 161, reaching an even more terrifying level. The difference between each level in the divine realm was a hard gap, and it was a full 20 levels, a gap of 2 major realms. Chapter 1397. But Wang Feng was different now. What was different? He had condensed a divine ring. In theory, he would only condense it after reaching rank 100. This was the normal path to inherit the Origin Tribulation God King. Even if he followed the normal path, he would have 4 more divine rings in the future. But now, Wang Feng had condensed a divine ring at rank 60. Wang Feng didn't know what kind of changes this would bring to him. He only knew that with this white divine ring, the feeling of being restricted disappeared. Wang Feng still didn't know how wise his decision to come to the God realm in advance was. If he was in the lower realm, he wouldn't be able to condense a real divine ring even if he had this kind of divine power. He could only absorb the soul ring and break through to rank 100. Then he could condense a divine ring in the God realm. But condensing it in advance was equivalent to walking the path of others after rank 100. This was a special characteristic that was difficult to replicate. The energy of heaven and earth rose from Wang Feng's body with this white soul ring. It was like a tornado pouring into Wang Feng's body. It was like a sealed sea surface that was placed in water. It gradually expanded and broke through the restraints, becoming stronger and stronger. The seals of the 5 God Kings were quickly undone. This kind of cultivation speed was unprecedentedly terrifying. In fact, even a soul master over rank 50 couldn't have such a terrifying cultivation speed in the God realm. This was because the only possible outcome for them was to explode and die. The body of a soul master from the lower realm couldn't withstand the energy of the Douluo divine world. But Wang Feng's avatar was different. It had the same constitution as his main body and great potential. It wouldn't be blown up by the energy of the Douluo divine world. Cultivating the first part of 1 Qi into 3 pure ones was to create an avatar with the same constitution as his main body. So there was no difference between the two bodies. The only difference was that their martial souls were different. How strong was his main body's constitution? Almost in the blink of an eye, Wang Feng rose 7 or 8 ranks. In 10 breaths, he broke through to rank 70. It was completely different from when he was stuck at rank 60 for most of the day. Moreover, after breaking through to rank 60, Wang Feng obtained the third origin power of the Origin Tribulation God King, Undying. The 7 origin powers, Judgment, Redemption, Undying, Elements, Devour, Nihility, and Origin Tribulation. The first 6 were easy to understand. Source Strength was related to the changes in the laws of the world. It controlled the laws of the world. In the Douluo world, the judgment of lightning was even more terrifying than the heavenly tribulation and could destroy everything. Redemption could bring the dead back to life. It could even change one's soul and thoughts. Even Dark Devil Chi could be directly eliminated. Using the power of redemption, Wang Feng had even cleansed many evil soul beasts who had not yet fully fallen into the abyss. This wasn't something that a normal soul skill could accomplish. They represented the power of the laws of heaven and earth. Of course, this origin energy would gradually increase with Wang Feng's strength. Even if it was awakened, it would not be so strong right away. All forms of power were relative. If Wang Feng could use the power of adjudication to kill a god at level 40 or 50, then his avatar wouldn't be able to withstand such a powerful buff. However, that might not be the case now. Indestructibility meant that one's soul was indestructible and one's body was indestructible. As long as one's will remained, they could be reborn. Logically speaking, the strength of this origin had already surpassed the enigma or even the secret of the 9 words. The enigma could only rebirth from a drop of blood and only restore the body. The enigma could cultivate the primordial spirit, which was the soul. It could foresee the future and predict opportunities, but this was linked to one's soul. If one's soul was strong enough, the enigma could foresee the future. But Wang Feng's soul was not strong to this extent. Even if he had touched the enigma, if he forcefully used this ability, then even if he could foresee the future, his soul might be reduced to ashes. But this indestructibility hall was different. This was a kind of self-strengthening origin power. It was the root of the Origin Calamity Divine King. The Origin Calamity Divine King was the hidden supreme existence of the Douluo divine world. In terms of strength, even in the shrouding heaven world, he was definitely a great emperor-level existence. The secret of the 9 words was created by different great emperors. But Wang Feng knew that this was just a simple comparison based on his own understanding. In reality, it was naturally impossible to generalize. Wang Feng sat in midair, his entire body wrapped in a white sea of energy. 3 of the 7 purple origin veins on his body had already lit up. The pattern representing the indestructibility origin energy was extremely dazzling after Wang Feng broke through to level 61. Wang Feng could feel that the indestructibility origin energy in this pattern was continuously pouring into his body. It was different from the previous 2 types of origin energy that could be used to fight enemies. This was an origin energy that only worked on the body. Under the influence of this source strength, Wang Feng could feel his spiritual force growing rapidly, and his physical strength was increasing dramatically. Almost immediately, his spiritual power expanded rapidly from its previous liquid state. Wang Feng calculated that at this speed, his spiritual power would surpass his body in at most a day. This origin energy was not a cultivation technique. It was purely the kind of automatic strengthening, and the speed was extremely fast. Even if Wang Feng stopped cultivating, it was still constantly strengthening. It was extremely terrifying. Wang Feng could even feel that the inside of his body was constantly tearing and reorganizing under the impact of this origin energy. There was naturally pain, but this pain could not hide Wang Feng's shock. Wang Feng, who had already experienced the pain of his body being torn apart and reorganized, was already immune to this kind of pain. Indestructibility origin energy. This is the true origin energy, and it is an origin energy that purely strengthens the body. Origin laws were powerful abilities that could only be comprehended by gods with divine thrones. And the origin energy of the origin tribulation god king was 1 in 10,000 in the Douluo divine world. At least Wang Feng could feel that the 9-word secret could not compare to this origin energy. Of course, the two were different types, and it was unfair to just compare. When Wang Feng broke through to rank 70, he didn't encounter any obstacles because of his soul ring. It was because Wang Feng had this divine ring that directly broke through the barrier of level 70 and continued to advance towards level 80. Only when he reached level 80 did Wang Feng feel the restrictions and upper limit of the rules. His cultivation base rose as if he was riding a train. If he had another divine ring, Wang Feng even felt that he could directly reach level 100. Only half a day had passed. Compared to yesterday, he had simply flown from the ground to the sky. It wasn't until Wang Feng felt a violent external attack that he slowly woke up. The moment he opened his eyes, Wang Fengxin's thoughts moved and his entire body disappeared. Boom! In the next moment, a terrifying black flame pillar that was hundreds of meters long blasted a spacious path in this ancient forest. Wang Feng narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at the monster from the dark demon realm in front of him. He dodged it. The monster seemed to find it a little strange. He looked at the naked person in front of him. He was here to enjoy lunch because he felt a little hungry and had almost recovered. But now he suddenly felt a little danger. However, only a day had passed, and Wang Feng also looked at him quietly. His eyes were very calm. He just slowly took out his clothes and put them on. Just now, when he withstood the indestructibility origin, his body was reorganized and his clothes naturally disappeared. But now... Chapter 1398. Wang Feng did not know what this monster was called. However, he could tell from its size, its aura, and the power of that casual attack. This monster from the dark demon world was very powerful. If he were to make a simple judgment based on its level, Wang Feng felt that it should be around level 120, equivalent to a 3rd-grade god. However, its actual combat power should be higher than a 3rd-grade god. Wang Feng would not have been able to deal with it before this. However, now, Wang Feng suddenly felt as if he had forgotten something. He patted his head and suddenly asked, God Slayer, do you know where this monster came from? The God Slayer Ridge. After the system used the God Slayer Ridge to open a portal to the God Realm, it had been in a state of energy shortage. That was why Wang Feng did not use it when he met this monster in the God Realm. However, the God Slayer Ridge would automatically absorb energy to recharge. It could not be recharged in the Douluo world, but it could be recharged in the God Realm. One day was enough for it to be fully absorbed. Size analysis, demonic cause analysis, destructive power analysis, macroscopic energy analysis, composition analysis, constructing simple model, matching database, confirming. 1%, 10%, 100%, confirmation complete. Target comes from an independent dust plane of the dark demon world. Small dark demon beast that crawls on all fours and is half intelligent and half magical machine. Nightmare Black Lion. According to records, this life form has been incorporated into the Imperial Demon Army. Analyzing abilities, insufficient data. Unable to analyze. A short reply from the God Slayer appeared in his mind. It was indeed a creature from the dark demon world. However, the God Slayer Ridge he had obtained was of too low a grade. The information recorded was limited. He could only analyze the monster's basic information. For more complicated information, such as what abilities this Nightmare Black Lion had, he had no idea. Even the most basic level of power was not clearly stated. Just then, the Dark Devil Realm monster called the Dark Devil Lion attacked Wang Feng again. The Nightmare Black Lion did not have wings, but it could hover in the air at will. Its massive body was like a small mountain. Even though the weak life form in front of it gave it a faint sense of danger, it would not give up on its delicious meal so easily because of this sense of danger. This time, it intended to do it for real. The nightmare black lion walked slowly in the air with its 4 hoofs. The scales on its body quickly disappeared. No, they did not disappear. Instead, they rearranged themselves and formed a special pattern. The pattern started to light up, forming a unique purple-black ring. This ring made Wang Feng feel like it was a divine ring. Of course, it was just a sense of déjà vu. There were still many differences. There were 2 purplish-black rings. At the same time, there were some changes to his body. 6 holes of the same size appeared on his back, and his eyes were completely black. That is, Wang Feng was slightly taken aback. He vaguely understood what the Godslayer meant by half-intelligent, half-magical machine. The inside of the monster's body contained a mysterious technology similar to the God-slaying ridge. He was not a pure beast. As the light flashed through his mind, countless metal-like piping components appeared in the hole on his back. At the same time, the shadow of a cannon appeared on his back. The shadow was emitting light, and it seemed to be charging up. In the blink of an eye, it was done. Then, a mechanical weapon that looked like a fortress cannon appeared in front of Wang Feng. There were a total of 6 muzzles. It was ghastly and filled with gloom, and it was filled with a destructive aura. Rumble. The next moment, light gathered at the muzzle of the cannon, and several dozens of meters thick dark red light blasted toward Wang Feng with an aura that could destroy everything. Humph. The onyx lion narrowed his eyes and looked forward. He couldn't do this. That weak life form could still dodge. The dark energy magic rail cannon is only a standard long-range magic energy weapon that I configured, but it has an advanced godlock core positioning. There is no way for him to dodge it. After the attack, the onyx lion didn't feel smug. Using such a weapon to deal with a slave from the god realm was a disgrace to the Imperial Demon Army. However, now that the god realm had been destroyed and the capital had fallen, the Imperial Demon Army wanted to control the entire god realm in the shortest time possible. It didn't matter if it took some effort. For the current Douluo god realm, this place was the backyard of the dark demon realm. Of course, they couldn't mess around. After all, the god realm was a very important strategic world. Go back and report that we encountered an escaped level 3 god. Then I can use the magic rail cannon without any qualms. The Black Nightmare Lion started talking to itself. At the same time, the 6 light cannons accurately hit Wang Feng's position. They were too fast, and the range of impact was too wide. There were no beautiful explosions. This kind of attack annihilated everything in the space. After being hit, everything in the surrounding space would be turned into nothingness and dissolved. Therefore, only a black cloud appeared in front of them. Then, it quickly shrank into a black dot and disappeared. If one were to look down from the sky, they would see that the surrounding ancient forest had completely disappeared. It was as if a hole with a diameter of hundreds of miles had been dug out. Even the ground was black and hollow. It was as if it had become a natural crust. However, the onyx lion was stunned. "Oh no, it's too powerful. My meal is gone," the onyx lion said with some annoyance. "Your meal is gone. Do you want me to help you find another one?" At this moment, a voice came from behind. "Okay." The onyx lion was stunned. It turned its head, but its scales stood up. It blurted out, "Impossible. How are you still alive? You don't have to find another meal if I'm alive. You should be happy, right?" Wang Feng smiled. He was speaking the ancient demon language now. After his body was reconstructed, Wang Feng realized that this body seemed to be able to speak this special language of the dark demon realm. It was not just communicating with his mind. "Who exactly are you?" The onyx lion was like a bird that had been shot. It jumped back a few hundred meters and looked at Wang Feng cautiously. His opponent's aura was very weak. But how could the demon rail cannons be useless? Even the rank 3 gods in the god realm would not be unharmed after being hit by 6 of these attacks. However, this mysterious life form in front of it was unharmed. Even his clothes were not damaged. This was impossible. "Tisk, it's very powerful." Wang Feng looked down at the hole. He was shocked by this monster's attack. After all, this was the god realm. The laws and energy undulations in the god realm were different from those in the lower realm. A title Douluo's attack in the God realm was not even 1% as effective as the attack in the lower realm. This was because the energy in the God realm was too strong. Attacks that were not driven by divine power were basically useless. End of chapter. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.